My
Any
one's
stream.
called Relaxing Unreal Tournament Stream. So what I'll explain to people listening. We are doing 40M words. There's some technical issues on
What I'm
Hemi
going to do
side.
is I'm going to delete a load of new streams.
So what you're hearing now is Hemi doing the technical stuff, and I
Yeah.
thought, whilst because every time you try and set up, like about a few seconds later, OBS crashes. So
Right, so
if I do it from my end, then we can do it. But is it?
YouTube Studio. I should reset
Yeah,
it.
I'm going.
I should delete the last two.
So yeah, we are live. Don't say fuck all bugger.
I'll look at your streams, and
Yeah,
I
I
haven't done it for ages. I haven't even looked at my streams in ages. I can't remember how to do it.
well, I'm subscribed to you on YouTube, so let me see if I can see you there. You are called Sir, so I'll go to down to S.
Add
Where
content. That's it. I've got it now. Live.
where is Sir?
I'll delete the last two.
Sir. You are called Sir. Wow.
Um,
I've got a channel here called Solidus Boglim. Wonder what that's about.
right. So I should delete those three.
Is your YouTube channel called Sir Hemingford Grey?
No, just
Yeah.
for graph.
Oh right, so okay, I'm looking at the wrong letter. Right, I am.
That guy. Poor
Right.
dude.
So I should reschedule this.
Yeah.
Schedule this for what's time now? 1:15. So I'll schedule it for 25 past. That's scheduled. Right. That's scheduled. I shall put in the chat. Oh no, not that one. New stream.
Oh, you got the icon saying that you are you're live, even though there's not.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Mm. And if I go on to Rumble,
Right, how do I
and you're
how do you uninstall something from thingy?
I think yours. Well, it's a flat pack, so it's probably you have to enter in a console command in the terminal.
Loading up. I installed it through FlatHub.
Oh,
So it was through Flatpak.
yeah. So if you go on FlatHub and you click on OBS, it should say installed, and then give you the option to uninstall it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I can install it through a Zorin OS package. I'll try that instead.
Yeah.
Because it's been doing this shite for ages, hasn't it?
Well, good luck with that, because like I said, I thought to myself, now, I mean, if you're listening into my channel, every Thursday at 7 o'clock, I co-host with Hemingford Grey and Fraser, 40M Words, and like Hemi, I'm using Linux because I got fed up with Windows 10 not working with me, and I've used Windows 11 enough to know that I don't want to use that. So
Okay.
his version of Linux is different to mine. However, we've both installed OBS the same way.
I've got two different versions of Linux installed.
Oh, is that because you
Not
did?
Linux, two different versions of OBS installed.
That's where you're probably getting your conflicts. I think you need to uninstall at least one of them.
Yeah, I've just done that.
Yeah.
Make sure it's the Timu version, the one you've got from India.
Still got the Bibble stuff.
I would stick to the Flatpak version because I've been using that without any problems.
Well, that's the one that's been giving me problems.
How do you know it's the one that's giving you problems and it's not
Because
just...
this one looks different. This one looks different, and the other one was the one that kept crashing.
Well, what I'm saying is it may not be the Flatpak version's problem. It may be just that you've got conflicts with the You know the one I'm looking for? The version you're not using may be causing conflicts with the version you are using. Because I have one version of OBS on my computer. It's OBS, the Flatpak version, and it is working for me, and it's never crashed. Although
Right,
there has
so-
been a couple of times when the stream stopped working, but that was a internet problem and not a computer problem.
There we go. Right then. So
Let me
Wait,
make
it's
sure
telling me
this
YouTube-
game is
YouTube
quieter
back, isn't it?
than the sound of your voices, because otherwise people would be like, I can't hear you over the sound of the truck that you're trucking around in.
Let's put the music on.
Yeah.
Let's do the theme tune.
Yep, there's a theme tune, but spooky theme
No
show.
crashes. Spooky music.
Spooky themes for a spooky show.
Right, there we go.
That is
we're up and running.
paranormal. Spooky.
Now everyone thinks that we're probably not streaming for the rest of the evening.
Spooky
So we'll
show.
have lost our regular audience.
But that's okay.
Right, so
Because
we're all
again,
back.
we're broad. I say we're simulcasting on BBC Two. You know when they do like the proms and they have it on Radio 4 and BBC Two at the same time.
We're back! Exclamation mark!
Yeah,
They're so back.
and
Yeah.
it
So back.
also being
We're so
silent.
back.
When I say
Dom's in. Everybody's here now. Me, you, and Dom.
when I say I'm simulcasting, I'm saying I'm streaming on my channel, so the audio's coming through there as well.
The audio's coming through fine because Hobbit's well into the red as usual.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at my thing here, and my OBS meter's saying it's in the yellow. In fact, it's not even. Well, when I said in fact, it went yellow, but now it's in the green. I think your levels, which I
Well, I'm looking in the OBS
broadcast at,
level thing.
yeah. But you can adjust my gain in the chat. You know, you can right click on it and change the slider.
Dom says, please keep the insults flowing, but away from mum jokes, please, as I just lost mine.
Oh.
Um,
Sorry to hear that, mate.
I am going to say rest in peace, Dom's mum. And
Well, I was gonna say, Dom, have you had a look down the back of the sofa? Usually down the back.
what
of
do you mean you lost your mum? Go find her.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Dom, thanks for starting the show off with a bummer.
What do you mean you lost your mother? Da 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 da. Go find her. Da 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 da
Anyway,
da.
we're gonna cheer you up, Dom, with some animal abuse stories.
I love animal abuse, said
But you
Doctor.
actually done any research?
Yes, I have. And as I was about to say before, I really need to qualify this. I really love animal abuse, said Dr. Antonio Fauci. Not me, Hobbit. I do not approve of animal abuse, but then again, I'm not Dr. Fauci, who was the Surgeon General of the United States of the America. You know that place, the United States of the America?
Yeah.
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 The US of the A's.
Yes, you know, hello, sir. I am just as American as you are. Let me tell you about Dr. Fauci and his pioneering work into how many sand fleas does it take to kill a beagle?
Fucking.
The answer may surprise you. This story and more will be revealed later, but first a word from Fraser. So, Fraser,
Hello.
animals and what they're used for. Tell us all about it.
Animals. What animals useful? Well,
Oh, can I give you an example? Because this is something you were telling me earlier, right? So,
that's a very broad fucking
No, no.
category. What animals are useful?
well, you know, Fraser, basically Fraser's saying there's so many stories of animals being experimented on. It's like, where do you even begin with this subject? And the one we were
Well, you
talking,
see, if I was a citizen of Gomorrah, Hobbit, in like 3000 BC,
yeah.
what would an animal be used for?
Actually, it's called BCE, before Christ's era. Because you see,
If I put in insane and military animal uses, will that'll come
Yeah.
out with some of this stuff, won't it?
well,
Actually, you have to learn how to talk like someone from TikTok, don't you?
Yeah.
oh, let me get the cadence right. As I was saying to Fraser earlier today, what about some of the stories of animal unaliving? Number one, Soviet soldiers in WW2 using
my God, you sound
dogs
like
as
this guy in those ghost videos,
bums.
sound exactly like him on YouTube.
During the
Number
90...
one.
Hi there, I'm TikTok. I've got a TikTok voice.
You can tell that my hairstyle resembles a head of broccoli. Number 1. During the 1930s, Soviet soldiers trained dogs to crawl under tanks. They had bums on their backs.
Don't do that's annoying, Hubby.
It-
You sound like Casey Kasem.
It fucking hurts me to talk that way as
What
well.
do you think? Is this a ghost or not?
Unfortunately, for the dogs, when they were released in the heat
Speaking
of battle...
Speaking of animals and things like that, why is Scooby-Doo scared of ghosts? He's never fucking seen one.
Well, that's why he's scared of them. He doesn't want to see one.
Yeah.
Why does he keep running away? He knows it's Mr. Jenkins that owns the fucking fair.
It's like,
It always
why
is.
are you
Yeah.
scared of like
But,
videos and,
Hemi,
and you
what
watch stuff
if, right?
like creepy things?
What
This
if...
one time it isn't Mr. Jenkins from the fair.
And it really was a spooky ghost.
Yeah.
And then that's the day when it's like Scooby dies of a heart attack. And he's
Yeah.
dead. Hey, do you entertain the theory that Scooby-Doo is a post-apocalypse?
Why?
Well,
Because everything's always fucking wrecked and weird, isn't it?
you never see functioning civilization in Scooby-Doo. They're like the last...
Have you seen the new? Have you seen the new post-apocalypse theory? It's what is it? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is actually a post-apocalypse film. Because there's like apparently if you listen to it at the start, there's weird news reports on the radio.
I don't remember. Number
Yeah.
2. So now we've talked about how...
Can you please stop using TikTok words?
All right, can I at least explain the thing about the
No,
bomb,
keep
the
going,
bomb,
Albert,
the
keep
bomb
going.
dogs? As I was saying to Fraser earlier today, when we were doing extensive show prep. Now,
Yes,
the
extensive.
problem, as Fraser pointed out, he says,
Hobbit always needs to do prep before the show.
well, you see, especially in June because that's
No,
Pride
that's a joke
Month.
about the other kind of yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. This episode where OBS is shitting the bed is brought to you by HelloFresh because if OBS had been using a high fibre diet as provided with HelloFresh, maybe it wouldn't have shit itself. Homosexuals, use code BOTTOMSUP for 10% off of your next 3 or 4 deliveries from HelloFresh. Yes.
Bottom.
But for high fibre foods from HelloFresh because fecal incontinence, June, Pride Month, fellow homosexuals, we are brought to you, we're proudly sponsored by HelloFresh. Remember, use your
What
code.
homosexuals want to be sponsored by like Staples or something for like fucking Pride months, no? So they could staple it shut.
Oh dear. Oh no. that's not. That ties into
Super together.
number 2. Dr.
Just reminded me of that really
Fauci.
bad joke I heard ages ago. There's two guys talking, and one of them goes, he goes, "How's your bum?" He goes, "Oh, shut up." He says, "So's mine. Must be the weather."
Oh. So anyway, as Fra-
Did you like that?
as
You know,
Fra-
wait, you must know the painting one, right? The painting one. The 2 gay men are painting a room.
No.
And one guy says to the other guy, don't finish yet. I'm just gonna go and get some food or whatever. He comes back and the wall's like painted white, and he says, what was it? Fucking. Oh, he finished or something.
You
Yeah,
just
it-
fucking-
So
just
as Fraser was
absolutely
I
telling
actually
me,
butchered it. I know. I can't
So,
remember it. I just remember.
as Fraser was telling me earlier with the
funny.
story of the dogs
It
and the
was funny.
tanks,
Yeah.
he said it's very funny, you see, because well, one thing, the Germans are homosexual, and 2, German tanks
Germans
and
are
Russian tanks have a significant difference. So I said, "What's that, Fraser? I don't know much about World War II military equipment." He says, "Well, the Russian tanks were diesel engines, and the German tanks were petrol engines. So, you see, dogs, they're quite sensitive to smell, right? And the dogs were trained on Russian tanks. So during the heat of the battle, because like dogs don't like." Now, as anybody knows around Guy Fawkes Night, dogs don't like the sound of explosions and they look to hide under where something. So the dogs, frightened by the loud noises and explosions and men screaming, would hide under the Russian tanks because, there's that familiar smell of diesel. And then the bums would explode unalive. This I hear about pigeon cruise missiles. Well, Fraser's going to tell us more about that, or maybe he's going to tell us about the tank bombs and stuff. Because, like I said, it's not a me episode.
It is a you episode, Hobbit.
It's a fucking you episode. Hobbit goes, what I want to do is I want to do about animals during wartime, and then he goes, oh, and then now we get, oh, I've been doing it for 5 minutes. I've had enough now.
I thought it's time to. When a black woman speaks, I sit down, listen, and shut up.
Especially if it's Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine love.
Crockett recently came out with an absolute banger. The knife that murdered Austin Metcalf. It wasn't a deadly weapon.
Now I remember the joke. Oh, now I remember it. Yeah, so the painter guy goes back and comes back and he says, "Oh, I told you not to start without me, finish without me, or whatever." And he said, "I didn't. I farted."
It's funny you see homosexuals. Remember, guys, we are brought to you by HelloFresh. Use code BOTTOMSUP for 10% off your next 4 orders.
Yeah.
Bottoms up, high fiber foods.
Do you want to go back into history? We can do. Let's go back into history.
Back into the annals of history. Yeah.
Let's go back into history.
It was like it was yesterday. We get a lot of mileage out of that drop.
Dogs and horses were likely the first animals used in war, but many other types of animals have been used in warfare. Hannibal famously used elephants. Were they actually any use, elephants, in war?
Well, yes and no. They were a shock weapon, but the thing is, elephants really don't like it when you throw arrows and javelins at them, and then they tend to go mad.
Yeah.
I mean,
they do. Like that one that was like fucking Jaws that was just hunting down that Indian one.
Well, you see, the thing is, like, now elephants have a long memory, and they also have vendettas, and when they get abused by people, like that Hindu woman, they tend to get their revenge on them. You know, revenge is not purely a human concept.
So do you think the fall of Carthage wasn't to do with like the Phoenicians or anyone else? It was fucking. It was the elephants. Yeah.
Well, the fall of Carthage, we got the story of like the Romans going in there, sacking it in the Second Punic War, and then salting the earth so that nothing could grow there anymore, because they found. Well, they found out the human child sacrifices that were going on to Moloch, which now Moloch is also known as the Brazen Bull.
I think the Romans were doing some of that themselves as well, but I don't think they cared about the
may have been, but this is one of the things they said. One of the reasons they had to absolutely destroy or delender Carthage. So yeah, the Romans did that. Now it's called a brazen bull, and the idea is like you light a fire in this ball made out of brass, and then you throw babies into it, and then the priests jerk off listening to the screams because that's holy, and which I'm disavowing the SA performed by priests of Moloch.
You don't actually hear the screams because of the way it was created. You actually heard like a bull. Sound like a bull,
No, I'm not.
Do you remember that film Immortals where they actually have a brazen bull in it?
They do actually, yeah.
Now here's the thing, right? I'm no sound expert. However, I reckon the sound of screaming voices doesn't sound like a roaring bull.
No, it's the construction of the bull's mouth.
Yeah, I know they're saying it's shaped like a trumpet and stuff, but I don't buy it. You know,
have you seen that film Immortals, Hobbit?
I probably have once. It's like when they do that wonderful traditional ceremony, which is called the Mitzvah B'Peh, and all the men around are shouting and cheering loudly because it's such a wonderful thing, and they're definitely not shouting to drown out the screams of the little child as it's being mutilated without anaesthetic.
So anyway, if we can get away from this, even dead animals have been used in warfare. In ancient times, animal carcasses may have been. I do love it. It definitely happened in ancient times. Well, maybe may have been thrown into water supplies to contaminate them. More recently, during World War II, British Special Forces considered stuffing dead rats with explosives and dispersing them over Germany.
Well, wasn't there that thing with... No, I believe the
Oh
US...
shit! So they hoped the Germans would gather the rats and dispose of them in industrial furnaces, producing tremendous explosions that would cause catastrophic boiler failures. But
Right.
the Germans, at the same time, the Germans would go, "Why has this rat got a big slit in it and it's been sewn up? Oh, well, never mind. We'll just throw it in the boiler."
Why does this rat look like it swallowed a 6-pack of dynamite?
Why is this rat ticking, guys? I don't.
Why does this look like a fur covered six pack of TNT?
Why is it square? Why is this rat square?
Yeah. However, the first shipment of explosive rats was captured by Nazi forces in 1941, and the British had abandoned the scheme. Dead rats still helped the British war effort, however. The rodent bombs were exhibited at German military schools, leading to a huge waste of time as the Germans hunted for hundreds of rats the enemy believed were distributed on the continent. So they thought the dead rats, there was like a load of rats down, but the dead rats were like part of the complete amount of rats.
Can you imagine, like, you know, the British War Ministry is coming to your farm or something? It's like, we need you for the war effort. It's like, yeah, what do you need? Do you need potatoes? Do you need wheat? It's like, no, we need rats.
Dead rats.
Yeah.
And loads of them.
Well, I've got a bunch of live rats. Do you want me to get some Jack Russells and we'll make you some dead ones? Yes, we would prefer if they were dead before we...
Didn't a pigeon get a war medal? Wasn't there a pigeon that got a war medal? Because they used to use pigeons for...
Carrier pigeon, yeah.
No.
Yeah, carrier pigeons.
Whilst you're looking up the use of carrier pigeons up until World War II and perhaps beyond, Fraser's got a story here about bat bombs and Project X-ray.
Oh God, I see what you did there. Yeah.
The primary military award for pigeons is the PDSA Dickin Medal, instituted in 1943 by Maria Dickin. I bet she went through fucking hell at school, didn't she?
Oh.
It's
Hey,
literally
Maria
Dick. It's
Dickin.
literally Dick in, spelled D-I-C-K-I-N.
My-
She went through hell.
My favourite funny name is not Phil McCann. It's the garden.
Mrs. Dickin. Sit down, Mrs. Dickin.
My
Dickin.
my favourite name is BBC Gardeners World presenter Gay Search.
Gay search.
But anyway,
Often referred to as the Animal Victoria Cross, it recognises conspicuous gallantry and devotion to duty. During World War II, 32 pigeons were awarded the Dickin Medal out of 54 total animal recipients. Notable recipients include Winky, real name of an animal. I think it's just fucking knobgags, is it?
Yeah.
Well, awarded in December 1943 for delivering a message from a ditched RAF bomber in the North Sea, leading to the rescue of the crew. Cher Ami, a US Army pigeon awarded the Croix de Guerre. What's that then?
that is the Cross of War.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
With a palm oak leaf cluster for delivering a critical message during the Meuse-Argonne. Is that Meuse? M-E-U-S-E? I bet.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, why are you cucking Fraser out of his content?
Hold on, I've just got a couple more. G.I. Joe was the first non-British recipient awarded in 1946 for the most outstanding flight by a US Army pigeon in World War II, preventing friendly fire on the 56th Division in Italy. Tommy was awarded it in 1946 for carrying a message from the Dutch resistance that identified a German arms factory, enabling successful bombing raid. And then Gustav was awarded in September 1944 for bringing the first news of the D-Day landings back to the UK from a ship off the Normandy coast. In the United States, the Animals in War and Peace Medal of Bravery. The Peace Medal of Bravery. Oh, God. Fucking Yanks. Was instituted in 2019 as an equivalent honour, with several war pigeons recognised at its inaugural ceremony.
No, I've got to say, we love our American listeners here. Remember, you can use code HelloFresh bottoms up for 10% off your next 4 orders for high
You can also
fibre
try
foods.
using you in your words.
Yeah, what?
And
No.
spelling aluminium properly.
No, you see, ever since the
Aluminium.
Civil War, they had to ration the use of the letter U.
Did they?
Yeah.
There is no you in team.
Well,
Is that why?
you see, one of the things of the Emancipation Proclamation was, as reparations, they had to give up the letter U for Carmelo Anthony,
Yeah.
or Anthony Carmelo.
Oh, blimey! Have you heard? I won't talk about it here, but Carmelo and Austin Metcalf's dad. Oh boy, he's got some opinions now.
Does he?
He's got some opinions.
How interesting. Anyway, Fraser, what's this about Project X-Ray? Hear you champing at the bit to say.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, am I?
Yes.
Yes. No one just bought it from me in like 5 seconds ago. Right, guys. Right.
Perish the
okay,
thought.
moral of the
Yeah, no,
story.
you see, I like to just do a bit of a behind the
Oh,
scenes
now
here.
you're cooking me out. Am I doing my fucking words?
No, I am sincerely doing a prologue for your content. Now, here at 14 Words, we like to maintain the air of off-the-cuff irreverence to make it all seem like it's spontaneous, but we research these events months in advance, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, any sort of thing like, oh, this has just been thrust upon me like 5 minutes ago, that's just banter, mate.
That's lies.
It's what we call good-natured ribbing. I'm sorry, Fraser, continue.
I wasn't even listening, so.
Well, exactly. This is how we work as a show.
Is this why we get called idiots?
About putting on the rib condom on your boyfriend or something and
Yeah.
going to town. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Remember, code HelloFresh, bottoms up, gay sex. What, hemorrhoids?
Right, okay, so if I'm going to have to read this. Okay, we're talking about bat bombs, baby, and not the bat bombs.
Not Batman bombs.
Batman bombs, yeah.
Did the B-52 sing about bat bombs?
No, they sang about rock lobsters.
And bat bombs?
Okay, so the bat bombs were an experimental World War One. Oh wait, no, 2. Wait, is that a 2? That's a 2. Weapon developed by the United States. The bomb consisted of a bomb shape with 1,000 compartments.
Whenever I think of bat bombs, it always makes me think of the Batman 1966 movie. You know, when he's running all over the pier with the comedy Acme bomb, and then he goes, "Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb."
Yeah,
That's a great line. That is.
Each of these was containing a hibernating Mexican free-tailed bat with a small timed incendiary bomb attached, dropped from a bomber at dawn. The casings would deploy a parachute in mid-flight and open to release the bats, which would then disperse and roost in eyries and attics in the 20 to 40 mile radius. The incendiaries which were set on timers would then ignite and start fires in inaccessible places in the largely wooden and paper constructions of the Japanese cities that were the weapon's intended target. United States Navy took control in August 1943 using the code name Project X-Ray.
Which has got nothing to do with X-rays.
Hobbit, did you know you can send burning pigs at the elephants in Rome Total War?
Yes, I do know. If you haven't got access to burning pigs, use lots of javelins. That tends to upset the elephants.
Okay,
No.
so the conception, the bat bomb was conceived by Lyle S. Adams, 1881 to 1970. Oh, he lived a long time. A dental surgeon from Irving, Pennsylvania, who was an acquaintance of the First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Acquaintance, eh?
Fucking
The inspiration.
Hell, I've got one about Genghis Khan.
So the inception of the session was a trip he took to Carlsbad Caverns National Park, is home of many bats. Adams wrote about his idea of incendiary bats in a letter to the White House in January 1942. No more than a month later, the attack on Pearl Harbor, Adams was intrigued by the strength of the bats and knew that they roosted before dawn. He also knew that most of the buildings in Tokyo were constructed of wood instead of concrete. He believed that if the time-release incendiaries could be attached to bats, some kind of container holding them would be dropped over the city after dark, and the bats would simply roost and burn Tokyo to the ground. In his letter, Adams stated that the bat was the lowest form of animal life, and that until now, reasons for its creation have remained unexplained.
I hate bats. I should use bats to burn down Tokyo. Bats! Bats!
So in 1207.
Hemi.
What?
Well, I know you're champing at the bit for that, but I have something that segues nicely into that,
I
right?
thought you checked out.
No, I'm like I said, co-hosting. So now we've been on the subject of using. Now we're using on the subject
Okay,
of.
Mr. Supervisor, fucking.
Well, I'm simulcasting
I'm not
in
even
case.
finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
Hobbit wants to speak to the management of 14.
Now I know how fucking Hemi feels being interrupted all the time. You're interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
Now you know how Hobbit feels when I interrupt Hobbit all the time.
Now you know how I feel when I interrupt Hemi.
I can't live like this, ladies and gentlemen. I can't. It's too much.
We can't keep carrying on like this,
Right,
interrupting minds.
So he went on to espouse that bats were created by God to await his hour to play their part in science, in the scheme of free human existence, and to frustrate any attempt of those who dare desiccate our way of life.
Is this what inspired Batman?
Oh, I'm guessing that in the previous, in an alternate universe, yes, this guy would have grown up to be Batman.
Is that?
I'm Batman.
All we needed is the speech like Batman did, where he says the Japanese are they superstitious and cowardly lot.
Hey, there was a 1940s Batman show. What it was like? Let me use my patented bat bombs to set fire to the Joker's lair.
Let me also engage in casual racism towards Chinese people.
It's like, Batman, why are you patenting bat bombs, and doesn't that require the use of your name, and which people can search for?
The 1943 Batman, he wasn't that keen on the what's he called him, the Yellow Peril? Is that what
Yes, he was talking about, I believe the costume for Harlequin was yellow at the time, and definitely not anything else that could be misconstrued as...
Definitely not a Mexican man with his eyes taped back.
I like how they all had glasses and went asso, and had the buck teeth, and that's definitely not like a stereotype or anything.
Okay, this is getting interesting now. Okay, right. Okay, so President Roosevelt passed a letter to William J. Donovan, Director of the Office of Strategic Services, in which he attached a cover letter which read, "This man is not a nut. It sounds like a wild idea."
That's always a good start.
Yeah, Donovan was enthused by the idea of and instructed Stanley Platt Lovell to use the research development branch to pursue the initial designs and development. Lovell, a close aide of Venar Bush, assigned the project to Division 19, of the National Defense Research Committee.
That's George W.'s granddad.
That's what I'm saying. They're all fucking connected, aren't they? Like
Prescott Bush was also a bit busy at the time.
It's a small world, isn't it? You know?
He was, I think, the lead. No, that was Smedley Butler.
I meant related wise to.
Great uncle, I think.
So what you're saying is the Bush family closest thing to like an aristocracy they've got, like.
That's why they didn't really like the Kennedys, because the Kennedys were like a new dynasty, a new political dynasty, weren't they?
Yeah. Also known as the Sandeman Club, of which the OSS and R&D had commanded authority.
The Sandarumanu.
On Shadwell Lovell, and Chief of Division 19, recruited Harvard zoology professor Donald Griffin onto the project. Cladwell and Lovell were both affiliated with Harvard. The plan was subsequently approved by President Roosevelt on Griffin's advice. After government approval, after Roosevelt gave the project his approval, it was regulated to the authority of the United States Army Air Force. Adams resembled the workers for the project, including mammologist Jack von Broker, Actor Tim Holt, a former gangster and a former hotel manager, among others. Von Blocher, his assistant Jack Chauffeur, and Ozio Wiesel. Wiesel, eh? A scientist, self-described, described bat lovers noted that it did not occur to them to question the morality of the ecological consequences of sacrificing a few million bats for the duration of the project. Many members enlisted in the Air Force, where Adams quickly promoted them to acting non-commissioned officers. The team had determined several variables to make the project feasible, including what kind of incendiaries could be attached to the bats, as well as temperatures at which to store and transport them. The bats had to be kept in hibernation while they were shipped. To accomplish this, they were stuck in ice cube trays and cold.
Yes.
They had to decide what species of bat to use for the bombs. After testing several species, the Mexican free-tailed bat was selected. Adams had to ask permission from the National Park Service for Griffin to harvest large numbers of Mexican free-tailed bats.
It's for the war effort. We need all your bats. Give us the bats. We need them now. I'm not enough.
The plan was to arm the bats with white phosphorus.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Mr. Wiesenthal that came up with that particular suggestion?
No, American chemist Louis Flusser.
Louis Flusser. Okay, that's interesting.
Louis Floozy.
Griffin's former roommate at Harvard joined the team, and white phosphorus was replaced with his invention, napalm.
Mm.
Is that one of those fucking segues from Family Guy? Oh, do you remember that time you destroyed Japan with a bat?
Do you remember that time when you invented napalm with your roommate and he put it to bats?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
Tests were used to determine how much napalm an individual bat could carry, determining a 14 grams.
Just imagine a montage, right? Where they're like putting different weights of napalm onto the bats and they're playing the Rocky music. And it's like, come on! And he's got this little bat and he's flying up the stairs and then he gets to the top of it and he's doing the bat Rocky pose going, yeah, Adrian! But he's a bat, Is
that an African or a European bat?
Is it laden or unladen?
They should have used that as swallows, shouldn't they? Because they can hold a coconut.
Well, what about albatrosses?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got more than one option, which is.
Dom says the bushes have gone out of fashion, including the pubic bush of the 1970s.
Oh.
You know, bushes just don't hold the appeal they once did.
Yeah.
So, bats, hey.
So, well, okay, we're not done yet, Hobbit.
No.
We're not done. We're still going.
But wait, there's more.
More, yeah, exactly. So the napalm stored in small cellulose containers dubbed H2 units. After trying several attachment methods, they decided to attach H units onto the bats using an adhesive, gluing them to the front of the bats. The bomb carrier was a sheet metal tube approximately 1.5 meters, 5 feet in length. Inside the tube was fitted with 26 circular trays, each of which was 76 centimeters, 30 inches in diameter. In total, each bomb carrier could hold 1,040 bats, and was planned that the carrier would be deployed from an airplane descending to an altitude of 1,200 meters.
That's pretty gnarly.
Before deploying parachutes. The side of the bomb carrier would then fall away, allowing the bats to disperse. Setbacks and transfers to the U.S. Navy. A series of tests to answer various operational questions were conducted. In one incident, the Carlsbad Army Field Auxiliary Air Base near Carlsbad, New Mexico, was set on fire on 15th of May 1943. When armed bats were accidentally released, the bats roosted under the fuel tank and incinerated. That's strange.
With hilarious consequences.
Yeah. Following the setback, the project was regulated to the Navy in 1943, who renamed it Project X-Ray. When then it passed to the Marine Corps that December. Marine Corps intowed operations to the Marine Corps Air Station at El Centro, California. After several experiments and operational adjustments, a definitive test was carried out of the Japanese village, a mock-up of the Japanese city built by the Chemical Warfare Service at their Digway Proving Ground test site in Utah. Observers of the test offered optimistic accounts. The chief of incendiary testing at Digway noted, a reasonable number of destructive fires can be started in spite of extremely small size of the units. The main advantage of the units would seem to be their placement within the enemy structures without the knowledge of the householder or fire watchers, thus allowing the fire to establish itself before being discovered. National Defense Research Committee observer stated it was concluded that X-ray is an effective weapon. The chief chemist reported stated that on weight basis, X-ray was more effective than standard incendiary bombs in use at the time. Expressed in another way, the regular bombs would give probability of 167 to 400 fires per bomb load, where X-ray found to give 3,625 to 4,785.
Okay, I could understand why I think it was the US Marine Corps were very interested in this.
Yeah. More tests were scheduled for mid-94, but the program was cancelled by Fleet Admiral Ernest J. King when he heard that it would likely not be combat ready until mid-1945. By that time, it was estimated that 2 million equivalent or to 35 million in 2024 had been spent on the project.
I think they found a more effective incendiary weapon by then.
Yeah, I think they did.
Well, I found 2 of them, didn't they?
And the war by atomic bomb project, yeah. So it was. So the reason why we didn't get bats burning Tokyo to the ground is because the A bomb was invented.
Or was it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Wait. So do you think that the firebombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima was bats? So
what if they weren't actually an atomic bomb and it was just a load of bats instead?
Yeah.
Right, are we ready for another story?
Boy howdy, yes. No,
this is a heartwarming story, this is.
I was going to do a story that you could do, because this one will be really quick. It's ever so quick, right? So, this wasn't the only...
All right then, mister, I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah,
episode.
I don't want to do anything today. Yeah.
That was just to lure you into a false sense of security.
Okay, Mr. Supervisor.
Now, this wasn't the only time that animals were used in war. There was Project Pigeon, which was later named Project Urcon for Organic Control. Now, interestingly enough, this was proposed by American behaviourist B.F. Skinner. Now, I believe we've covered B.F. Skinner on this episode before, because now let's do this in a TikTok-friendly fashion. He conducted experiments into child SA, and other things.
What, himself?
Yeah, actually, yes, himself. He was doing statistical analysis on.
Did he? So he actually used the Pete Townsend defense.
No, it's worse than Pete Townsend, because, okay, so pigeons aside, B.F. Skinner was like, what if I masturbate a bunch of children from infants up until I don't know what age, was the upper limit, and observe if they orgasm or not, and then I'll write a graph with statistical analysis of boys and girls,
and then pretend that it wasn't just him pleasuring himself. And
somehow he wasn't, because this was done in the 1930s or 50s or something, and
Do you hate the defence of? Oh well, people just used to be like that then. No, they fucking didn't.
Well, I don't understand how he did all this stuff and not get because I believe in 1950s America they took a dim view to sexual abuse of children.
I don't think in any period of time have they ever taken anything less than a dim view of touching kids. I don't believe any of this. Well, it was the 70s, Jimmy Savile, they were all like that back then. I just do not buy that defence.
It's a pretty weak defence, but yet somehow B.F. Skinner was doing all this stuff, and I don't want to say he was getting away with it.
I think it's more like if you wear a lab coat, you can do stuff like that.
Well, was it the Milgram experiment where they were just pretending these people were getting electrocuted, and the guy in the clipboard said, "Please continue with the experiment." Now, the interesting sort of weasel word about please continue the experiment. At no point do they sort of say to them, yeah, part of the experiment is you can not shock the victim.
Yeah.
You know, that could have been said to them. So anyway, B.F. Skinner said, what if we use pigeons to control a guided bomb? So specifically, it's a glide bomb. So it would be deployed from a plane. And now, the way I remember it is the pigeons would tap on the screen to go towards a ship because they were trained, like, if they tap on pictures of ships, they get rewarded with grain. So what we got? The intent was to train pigeons to act as pilots of the device using the cognitive ability to recognise the target. Yeah, well, we just said that, but I've said it in a way that makes sense. So the screen was mounted. Alright, so here we go. The guidance system consisted of 3 lenses mounted in the nose of the vehicle, which projected an image of the target on the screen mounted in a small compartment near the nose cone. Oh, I see. So, like, they look at the 3 lenses, and whichever one the ship was in, like, the pigeon would start sort of tapping towards that lens.
Okay. Because I was going to say that it's not like they didn't have touch screens back then, did they? So I was just wondering how they did it.
I'm guessing there was kind of like a lever next to these, and the more they sort of tapped on a lever, the more it would change the glide bomb's ailerons to the flaps to go that way. So what does it say? The screen was mounted on pivots and fitted with sensors that measured any angular movement. 1 to 3 pigeons trained by operant conditioning to recognise the target. So basically they're trained like, look, you tap on the ship, we give you grain. That's what operant conditioning means. Were stationed in front of the screen. When they saw the target, they would peck at the screen with their beaks. They were trained by being shown an image of the target.
What else are they going to peck at the screen with? God, talk about redundant language.
Yeah, well, so they're being trained. Well, oh boy, have I got some redundant language for you. They were trained by being shown an image of the target and gradually more and more rapid pecks were required for the screen with their beaks. They were trained by being shown an image of the target.
Dom says, I think incendiary is the word of the day. Combine it with a noun of your choice and you have a punk band.
Oh, incendiary Belfast.
Probably not say that.
Keir Starmer, I'm a peaceful man. I want peace. Please no bully, Keir Starmer.
I think he's actually spoken about bullying in the House of Commons. A lot of people are going to get a lot of bullying.
Well, please.
Unless they saw people's heads off, then you don't get any bullying whatsoever.
Well, Keir Starmer, this is a no bully zone, so you're not allowed to bully me. No bully, please. Now, so one, oh, here we go. They were being trained by showing an image of the target. Gradually, more and more rapid pecks were required for the screen with their beaks. They were trained by being shown an image. Yeah, I said that. So they're given a grain of food as the reward. One bird pecked more than 10,000 times in 45 minutes. So that was noted by B.F. Skinner.
Was that Hammy in a previous life?
Food. As long as the target remained in the centre of the screen would not move, but if a bomb began to go off track, the image would move towards the edge of the screen. The pigeons would follow the image, pecking in it, which would move the screen on its pivots. In the case where 2 possible targets were on the screen, Skinner noticed at least 2 of the birds would be in agreement, and the third would be punished for his minority opinion. Also, it was a census bomb. So that would encourage it to...
There are 4 lights on this bomb.
So each of these bombs, they didn't just have one poor bit of pigeon sacrifice. They had 3 sacrifice pigeons.
Well, why sacrifice one pigeon when you can do 3 instead?
I can kind of understand it as error correction because you don't want false positives or false negatives. So if you use 3 pigeons, if 2 out of 3 of the pigeons agree, like, that's the way to go, that's the way you go. Yeah. I always thought, like... Do you remember...
it was 2 blokes and a woman, weren't it, pigeon?
Do you remember with Stingray, where, like, both Troy Tempest and, was it Phones, the other guy?
Yeah. Was it Phones or Bones? I think it was Phones.
I think it was called Phones because, like, a hydrophone. Now, they would both have steering wheels for the submarine and they could both steer at the same time. And I remember saying to my dad, I said, what happens if Troy Tempest steers one way and then Phones steers the other? He says, well, the sub will split in half. So,
Was it just like was the other one just like a spaz one, like just to keep phones happy?
I think
I'm doing things.
I'm helping. It's like when I'm playing Bomberman with my cousins. Oh, that's a story which
That's some deep family trauma. That is. I think you need to be airing it on this show.
Look, I'll just in brief, right? This has happened to cousins and siblings throughout time, right? Where you go to like, look, it's your cousin, play with him, and they give you a controller, but the controller's not plugged in, and they say you're playing Bomberman. It's like, look, press the button. You see, you deployed a bomb. It's like, well, it's you press a button, and like your cousin presses a button at the same time to pretend that you're really doing stuff, and.
Yeah.
They're like, what if we make a game of this childhood trauma experience where you think you're doing stuff, but actually nothing happens?
I'm helping.
And that game is called Mixtape, and it's brilliant, and it deserves all the accolades it gets. So anyway, the screen wouldn't move, but the Bomber Golf track, the image would move toward. Yeah, we said that. The sensors
are mixing time. Is everyone going to do like the meme? It's mixing time, and then they're going to re-release it with huge fanfare.
We'll do a petition to say, hey, we were all busy that weekend. Could you please re-release Mixtape? Yeah. The sensor would detect the movement, send signals to control surfaces which would steer the bomb in the direction the screen had moved. As the bomb swung back towards the target...
That's quite high tech for back then, though, isn't it? Because like, you think about it, like, you didn't even have touch screens back then, did you?
Well, I'm thinking it's kind of like the tapping is enough to make like the flight stick move, and that's how it's done. Yeah. Like I've seen something similar where it doesn't result in the pigeons being blown up. Where have you seen that when they're training dogs to drive cars and they can hold onto the steering wheel if the steering wheel gets like Velcro pads put on it, then they can have enough grip on the thing. And yeah, the dogs, they're quite happy. They follow their trainers around. The cars don't go faster than walking pace. And they can even train rats to steer cars.
Oh, shit. What were they going to train rats to drive? They were going to train rats to drive something. Do you remember that? It was a story a couple of years ago.
Right. Well, that story, I think we're pretty much done with this. Like, so B.F. Skinner, when he wasn't masturbating little children, he was torturing pigeons. And in conclusion, B.F. Skinner, great guy, did a lot of stuff to contribute to psychology, and was one of the authors of the first DSM manuals.
Well, he also contributed to a lot of psychological damage.
Well, you see, you have to get, as they say in the DSM manual 1, you can't do diagnostic and statistical analysis of psychiatry without diddling a few kids. I am B.F. Skinner, and here's my good friend Sigmund Freud to carry on. Yeah. Interesting thing, psychology. B.F. Skinner, interesting guy. I believe his work is discounted these days, but I could be wrong. He could still be current.
Do you remember when they said they were going to bring back vacuum tubes? So you know those vacuum tubes
that
have in shops
wait,
they put the notes
Hemi,
popping upstairs.
I'm fucking wrong, actually. I'll respond to you a bit. Yeah, so Skinner was awarded the 2024 Ig Nobel Peace Prize for his work on the project. Yeah. His daughter Judy Vargas received the award in his stead. It's quoted as saying, I want to thank you for finally acknowledging his most important contribution. People only know him for discovering operant conditioning, schedules of reinforcement, and for books...
People only know him for a bit of touching kids.
Yeah. And for books like Walden 2, Verbal Behaviour, Beyond Freedom and Dignity, B.F. Skinner, My Guide to Masturbating Children for Statistical Analysis, and more. Even the B.F. Skinner Foundation fails to put the missile on its hat. So thank you for finally putting the record straight. Oh, the B.F. Skinner Foundation, what accolades does the B.F. Skinner Foundation have? Well, there's masturbating children. There's also the Milgram experiment. There's MK Ultra. Oh yeah, but never mind the pigeon bombs. No, we're not interested in that. That's kind of, fuck that, I guess. Oh God. Hemi, I know you want to do your medieval stuff, but I've just seen an article here. Do you want to just read like the first bit? Fuck me! I shouldn't laugh, right? But
Blue Peacock, renamed from Blue Bunny and Brown Bunny, was a British tactical nuclear weapon project in the 1950s. The
yes,
project's goal was to store a number of 10 kiloton nuclear landmines in Germany. These mines were intended to be placed on North German plain and detonated by wire or an 8-day timer. In the event of Soviet invasion from the east, Blue Peacock
hang
was
on.
designed after the free-falling Blue Danube, and
that's not what I'm saying here.
Blue Danube's a great piece of.
It is, but shall I say that like how the bombs worked, right?
Go on then.
One proposal suggested that live chickens would be sealed inside the casing with a supply of food and water. They would remain alive for approximately a week. Their body heat would apparently have been sufficient to keep the mine's components at working temperature.
Yeah.
This proposal was sufficiently outlandish that it was taken as an April Fool's Day joke when Blue Peacock file was declassified on the 1st of April 2004. Tom O'Leary, head of education interpretation at National Archives, replied to the media that it does seem like an April Fool, but it most certainly is not. The civil service does not do jokes. The civil service is a fucking joke.
I found a picture of the chicken bomb. I'll stick it up. That picture I did have up was a pigeon called Commando, and he flew no end of missions.
I just, like, you know, what if we used a chicken to keep the bomb's internals from freezing?
That's one way of doing it. There you go. There's the internal of the pigeon bomb of it. I didn't know if you'd say you'd seen it or not.
I just wanted to do a wholesome Chungus Reddit episode about animal abuse, and instead I was reminded that B.F. Skinner exists.
Yeah. So, in 1207, let's go for this one now. During the Mongol assault against the Tanga, something like that, kingdom of Hasasa Hasai. How the fuck are you supposed to say that? HSIA, HSI. How are you supposed to say that?
I do struggle with those Mohammedan names.
I think it's Mongol,
Tibetan.
isn't it?
It's
In
Mongolese.
a veiled threat, he offered to break the siege of Volahai in exchange for a tribute of 1,000 cats and 1,000 swallows. If you know anything about Genghis Khan, you may know where this is going. Does anybody know where this one's going?
Actually, no, I don't. So tell me more.
Genghis Khan is said to have then lit them ablaze and unleashed them in a torrent of live fire. The mortified animals set fire to the city in hundreds of locations at the same time, while the defenders battered the fires. The Mongols breached Volahai's walls and conquered the city. At least that's what the tour storytellers will let you decide if you believe if it's real or not.
I'm going to go with yes.
Oh shit, yeah, the burning pigs, that's mentioned in here. So that was Alexander the Great that used to do that.
I'm told apparently there's no such thing as war dogs. That was... Well, I say that, but then again I'm thinking the people that told me that was probably Snopes, because it's attributed to Shakespeare where he says, like, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
So, how about this one then? They did use pigs to frighten away battle elephants, but apparently elephants don't like pigs squealing.
Not many people do.
Yeah. So it's not mice they're scared of, it's pigs.
Well, the
Remember
other
the cartoons, it was always mice.
Well, the other thing is like the cavalry, which medieval Europe used extensively. In fact, a lot of people used extensively because horses are kind of useful like that. Really don't like the smell and appearance of camels.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
the Saladin's forces would have camel cavalry, and it would be really disruptive towards armoured knights on horseback.
Yeah, because you'd be higher and stuff, wouldn't you, as well? So
Well, it's not just that. Like the horses would physically rear up and recoil because like they didn't like the smell, and horses, even war horses, quite skittish creatures. Not sure if you knew that. They. Well, I mean, did you see that?
You did the tank dogs, didn't you?
Fraser did tank dogs.
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
no,
done
you
tank
did
dogs.
tank dogs.
No, you did. You're the one reading out tank dogs. I talked about pigeons and B.F. Skinner and how I dislike him.
So I don't know whether you mentioned this, but they were initially trying to leave a timer detonated bomb and flee, but the practice was later replaced by an impact detonation technique. How about monkeys? Do you know about monkeys? Were once used as a living incendiary devices.
That sounds really cruel and horrible. Please tell us more.
In the absence of accurate laser-guided ordnance, monkeys were said to have been employed as live bombs during the Southern Song Dynasty. You know that well-known animal husbandry nation of the Chinese. In ancient China, the monkeys were given straw clothing, doused in oil, and set on fire before released into enemy camps. The monkeys would run around in flames, setting tents ablaze and wreaking havoc. A similar tactic was allegedly developed by Chinese forces during the Opium Wars with the British, but was not put into use.
You know, like when they're saying, "Oh, isn't it terrible what the Japanese did to the Chinese?" And I'm thinking to myself, well, the Japanese know what the Chinese are like. Maybe I'm not saying it was justified, but maybe it can be understood. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not. I would never say such a thing. But also, I'm saying, like, you know.
So, how about, have you heard of what's this one called? Acoustic Kitty, the Acoustic Kitty Project. Have you heard of this one?
Oh, is it where you torture cats so they scream really loudly, and that will demoralise your enemies?
Well, you do torture cats, but in a different way.
Oh.
After considering several options, the CIA selected the Acoustic Kitty Project. In order to carry out their scheme, they had a cat surgically altered by implanting listening devices inside it.
Oh yeah.
Acoustic Kitty, one of the first examples of a cyborg animal, had a microphone implanted. This is like a 1960s microphone. So the cat probably had two heads or something.
Well, so basically they ripped out all its guts and put this massive fucking Baker-like microphone in the abdominal cavity. How wholesome, Chungus.
Had a microphone implanted in its ear and a radio transmitter implanted at the base of its skull. The vet also wove an antenna into the cat's fur. The CIA hoped the cat could be trained to sit near foreign officials and secretly transmit their private conversations.
But when they were listening in, the Mormon CIA operatives, like, all this cat's going is, meow, 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 meow. I think it's in pain. Meow, meow, meow.
Well, obviously, cats are unfortunately difficult to train, as any cat owner can attest.
I
They're
don't believe
independent
that,
thinkers and
Hemi.
enjoy to find their owners. During the cat's initial test in a park in Washington, D.C., the agents gave Acoustic Kitty the job of listening to a conversation between two men sitting on a bench. Instead of obediently sitting near the men, Acoustic Kitty wandered into the neighbouring street and was struck by a car. The cat's premature death put an end to the show, and cats were never considered for such projects ever again.
I always feel like the cat was just like, fuck you, kill me now.
Yeah, it sounds.
I don't.
The cat was literally doing the fucking bit from Alien Resurrection, wasn't it? Kill me, kill me.
It's almost as if that cat was just like out of spite. It's like, look, if I unalive myself right now, this animal abuse won't continue.
Have we done dolphins yet?
Oh boy, howdy! I love dolphins. Tell me more about how American and Soviet navies did experiments with dolphins.
So they did bottlenose dolphins and sea lions to go on marine patrols. The marine animals are chosen because they're smart and can be trained to use their excellent low light vision and underwater directional hearing to allow them to detect and track underwater targets. Perhaps the best military skill a dolphin has is its
ability to rape. Is that his best skill?
Hey! We made it a whole hour before saying my favourite word! It wouldn't be an episode of 48 words without saying rape! Oh, we do have fun when we talk about animal abuse.
The marine animals. I've done all that.
Hang on, Hemi. It might be a bit late for it, since we're an hour into the show now, but. Content warning. In this episode of 13 Words, we'll be talking about depictions of animal abuse and rape yet again. Yeah, but this time it's okay because it's the dolphins that are doing the raping, so it's all right.
Well, there was do you remember the actress Bo Derek, who's a bit of a hot? who was a bit of a hottie in the 70s. She did this film, I think it was 10, with Dudley Moore, and there was a scene where she had to be in with a dolphin, and the dolphin, should we say, just got rather amorous.
Yes.
It's women, isn't it? They like to they get fruity with women, don't they?
I think they get fruity with humans in general.
Yeah. Imagine that, you're out there saved by a shark and then you get raped by a dolphin.
It's like, oh, Flipper, you've saved me. E. Translator's like, it's not your day, human.
So they were chosen because they got low light vision and underwater directional hearing to allow them to track and detect underwater targets. So echolocation was useful. Dolphins also use their eyes underwater, but they can imagine things they can't see by making a series of high-pitched squeaks and listen. Actually, let's go on a wholesome tangent for a moment. I heard this podcast once. I can't remember where I heard it. It's about this guy who was struck blind by some sort of virus or something, and he actually taught himself echolocation. Blind people can use echolocation.
Yeah, I saw that guy. He was clicking, and he was clicking with his left and right hand, and then comparing like the sounds in his left and right ear to figure out.
His mum was like, well, you may not be able to see, but I'm not going to let that stop him do anything. His mum used to let him ride bikes and climb trees and all kinds of shit.
Yes, so look, it's up to him, and he's decided that's what he wants to do. And who am I to say no, Timmy? You're blind.
Yeah, really, really great thing. And then he, I think he's probably dead now because this was a while ago, and I don't think he was exactly young at the time. But he used to teach other people how to do it as well.
Yeah. I don't want to say many such cases, but more than one such case.
So, teams of US Navy handlers take dolphins on patrol. I bet the ladies don't take them on, attached to the hulls of warships. The dolphins are taught to look for particular things and notify the handler by pressing a positive response paddle. The dolphin's in a boat? If the dolphin spots a suspicious object, it's given an electronic transmitter in a nose cup. The dolphin attaches the transmitter to the mine, and the Navy demolition teams can later check the object and clear it.
Nice.
So during the Persian War and the Iraq War, Navy dolphins were used to help clear the mines from the port of Qasar, River Phoenix, in southern Iraq.
My husband, River Phoenix.
Qasar, it's called. I think it's Qasar.
Actually, Qasar is not there. Actually.
In southern Iraq, these skills came in very handy. The dolphins. Oh yeah. So that's that one I found.
Going to the country, gonna find me a bunch of dolphins.
Yeah. What else we got? Flaming invaded India in 1398 because when you got Mongolia, that's the kind of thing you do. He marched on Delhi and was met by the army Sultan Muhammad Khan, who had 120 war elephants in his command, covered in armour with giant scimitars attached to their tusks. But that's not the insane use of. Oh God, they're being folksy, Hobbit.
Muhammad
But
Khan.
that's not the insane use of animals we want to talk about here.
Oh.
Because do you know what Timur used to counter these unstoppable killing machines? Camels, flammable camels. Oh God, this is awful.
Yeah. Do it with the TikTok cadence. Flammable camels.
To be fair, he does look a bit like George Floyd.
Rest in power. I can't breathe with those massive nostrils.
Hobbit. Have a look at the picture. I've just put it in general. Have a look at the picture of that general and tell me he doesn't look like George Floyd.
Let's have a look at this guy here. So there's a picture of a camel on fire. There's some picture of elephants from Lord of the Rings.
As we've said before, dolphins are arseholes. They're also very good guards. Oh, God, you fucking awful person.
His nose isn't as wide as George Floyd's. And he hasn't got those... now, I believe in the case of...
Other Soviet dolphins written in. So they did kamikaze ones, and then they taught some to impale enemy swimmers with harpoons. And then some of them were trained to jab swimmers with shark darts, so their syringes full of pressurised CO2.
Oh, nice.
When CO2 was injected, pressure of 3,000 psi would enter the swimmer's body, forcing his guts out of his mouth like a tube of toothpaste.
Oh, how wonderful! I'm really happy about this.
A few years later, the former head of the Navy's Marine Mammal Programme sued Penthouse over an article claiming he attempted to sell torpedo dolphins to Latin American countries. What a turkey parachutes, Hobbit? Do you know about the turkey parachutes?
No, this is.
So Spanish Civil War, 1936. Where was this? During the war, anarchists took control of parts of southern Spain, driving the nationalists out of their garrisons and into the hills. One group, led by Captain Cortes, retreated into the monastery of Santa Maria la Cabeza. So that's Santa Maria of the Head. Dirty bitch. And that's where the turkeys come. God, it is awful reading this thing. It's really good content though. But they're being resupplied via airdrops, and somewhere along the line, somebody decided that just using parachutes wasn't good enough for the future leaders of Spain. So after some intense strategizing, pilots began attaching the supplies to live turkeys and dropping them out the planes over the monastery. Turkeys would flap their wings as they fell, slowing the descent while still managing to make their eventual pulverizing landing no less hilarious. Once the feathers cleared, the soldier on the ground would have their supplies and a fresh turkey to eat.
Oh,
Laugh all you want,
yeah.
it worked. God, it's awful, isn't it?
Laugh all you want at turkeys being abused, plummeting to their death.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
Mares in heat used to distract war horses. You heard about this?
Fraser, you can't read this one. Give Fraser the mares in heat used to distract war horses.
Why? He has right up his right up his alley.
I think, it's... Fraser, do you want to read?
Oh, God, it's awful. Which brings us to Pharaoh Thutmose III. He was a badass. Oh, God, the writing is awful. Made no less awesome by the fact his name kind of looked like Titmouse. So he was a military genius. I'm trying to turn this into English. It's awful. He hatched an idea, basically theorising that no matter what level of wartime mayhem is exploding around in all directions, no penis in history can resist the vagina. Targeting the stallions pulling Egyptian chariots, the king of Kadesh set loose a mare in heat to create a distraction. So he threw out the mare in heat and just completely fucked up the Pharaoh's battle formation.
I mean, having ridden an ungelded stallion whilst the mares were in heat, I can attest that, yeah, he's not going to pay any attention to how hard you're pulling on the reins. It's just like, time for a fucking gallop. Hope you can hold on. And the answer is, 8-year-old Hobbit cannot hold on to a stallion in full gallop. And it's like, at some point I have to throw myself away from this horse. Otherwise I'm going to end up getting trampled. And when a horse is in full gallop and you throw yourself off of him, it's quite painful.
Yeah.
Horses can gallop really fast. And when you're going from 20, 30 miles an hour to 0, it's, put it this way, you need to roll a lot, as I found out.
How about this one? But during World War II, British intelligence discovered that their German counterparts were using pigeons to transmit messages across Europe. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, hilariously declared himself head of the German National Pigeon Society without a single ounce of irony.
Well, yeah. Well, what the fuck are you supposed to say? It's like, hey, do you remember how we used pigeons in World War One and they were effective for carrying messages and stuff? Yeah. Well, we're still doing that now. All right. Oh,
the British need an answer to this, but none of them had heard of Alka-Seltzer. They created the Army Pigeon Service Special Section. Despite the name, the Special Section contained 0 pigeons. The unit was actually made up of peregrine falcons. Peregrine falcons are the fastest birds in the world. They hunt by flying high. I'm sorry, but the way he writes this just makes me talk like that.
They fly, but they fight by flying high, then diving down to catch their prey. In this case, the evil Nazi pigeons, and they un-Nazied them, one peregrine falcon at a time.
What else? 10 weirdest military animals. Let's see if we've got any more.
10 kooky weird animals that were in the military.
Something else now. War elephants, winged mercilessly. TSA gerbils. I bet. No, this one.
Hey, Fraser, do you want to do that story about Fauci torturing beagles to death? Neither do I.
In the 1970s, the Israeli government placed trained gerbils next to airport security checks in order to expose potential terrorists. The critters could detect excess adrenaline, sniffing out threats. Did you know that, Hobbit?
Richard Gere was seen sweating.
What else have we got here? Battle bear. So in 1943, the Polish army adopted an orphan bear cub found wandering the hills of Iran. Wojtek was later trained to carry ammunition into battle and was officially ranked as a Polish soldier.
Oh, wasn't he the one which became... wasn't he promoted to corporal in the end? He used to...
Was he?
Well, he was like a private to start with, and so he'd be in the trenches with these Polish soldiers, and he could see that they were loading ammo, so he would pick up crates of ammo from the lorry. Sorry, that's called a truck to the American audience. He would pick up crates of ammo from the Polish truckazine and give it to the soldiers. No, sorry, hang on. Let's turn soldiers into the Americanism.
There's a happy story to Wojtek.
Or Wojtek would give the ammunition to the warfighters that were Polish.
So Wojtek had grown to weigh more than 880 pounds and stood more than 6 feet tall.
What's that in new money? How many stones is
At
that?
1.8 meters. In time, he was enlisted. Tech was sent with his unit to Monte Cassino in Italy during one of the bloodiest series of battles in World War II, where he helped carry crates of ammunition.
880.
In his later years, Wojtek lived at the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland.
808.
The Edinburgh Zoo, for our American listeners.
Edinburgh.
Where he'd stayed
Edinburgh.
with his adopted supply company at the end of the war.
What the weight of Wojtek in Olympic swimming pools? It's 400 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is equivalent to 400 bags of sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have to put it in new money for the Blue Peter audience.
Oh, Roman legions bred their own war dogs from an ancient mastiff-like breed known as the Molosser. They were mainly used as watchdogs for scouting, but some were equipped with spike collars and armour and were trained to fight in formation. What else? So one of the earliest accounts of dogs fighting in battle comes from the early kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor around 600 BC, where a pack of Lydian war dogs routed and killed a number of invaders.
Yeah, the Lydians were interesting. I was looking into the history of gold coins and stuff, and if you look at Lydia is Asia Minor. It's what became Byzantium. The Lydians had coins made out of silver and gold, but they also used an alloy called electrum. Now it turns out when you're mining silver and gold, they appear in the same. They appear in the same places, and if you mix gold and silver together, you get electrum, which also is the world's best. Well, apart from superconductors, it's the world's best conductor. It's more conductive than silver or gold. It's called electrum.
So bees, do you know about bees, Hobbit?
Bees.
Now I'm not going to come up with any anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
No.
I'm going to talk about here bees.
Oh, I was going to say because there was a bees recently did something which was anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And
so the ancient Greeks and Romans were among many ancient peoples known to have used bees as tiny weapons of war. One of these wasps, they're worse and they're cunts and no one likes them. Attackers would sometimes catapult beehives over the walls of besieged cities, and the defenders of Themyscira. So Themyscira is a real place.
Yeah.
A Greek town famous for its production of honey defeated the attacking Romans in 72 BC by sending swarm of bees through the mines that had been dug beneath their walls.
I'm guessing they didn't have many hornets' nests at hand, and that's what, just expediency
Yeah.
sake says they're going to use bees.
Thousands of bees. The Romans seem to have...
Do you
seem to
remember
have-
the cartoon Dr. Bees?
No.
This is the situation which can be improved with tens of thousands of bees. Did somebody say you wanted cruise missiles filled with bees? Bees! Do we have time
So
to
the Romans
watch...
seem to have especially bad history with bees. In 69 BC, the
Now, for those that are
Heptacometes.
wondering,
I
BC
do struggle
stands
with
for
those Roman names.
bees count. So you're talking about 76 bees count.
69 BC's count.
Yeah, and C
BC.
and C stands for see those bees over there. The bees end with the
The
letter E.
Heptacometes of the Trebizond region, I'm sure they're fucking with me, in Turkey, tricked invading soldiers under the command of the Roman general Pompey by leaving hives filled with poison honey along the route of their march. Chemists now think the
Bees.
poison was a grey anotoxin, which can form in honey.
Oh,
Do you know about this? Robert?
Yeah, so it's pretty nasty stuff, and is that in bee venom?
Don't know. It said it can form in honey, which is rarely lethal to humans but makes them very sick. And the Heptacometes were able to easily defeat the vomiting, intoxicated Romans. So it must be like. Should we see what grey anotoxin is?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm guessing. Well, it's they just said it there. It made the soldiers vomit.
Yeah.
They were vomiting because of the bees.
There you go, Robert, you
Bees.
can read this, but you're our science expert.
Dr. Bees will read this article about grey anotoxin, something that you can get from bees.
Bees.
Grey anotoxins are a group of closely related neurotoxins named after the Leucophile greyana, a plant native to Japan and named from the
Hold on
19th
a minute,
century.
how do they get that in Trebizond in Turkey?
I'm guessing it's like other plants. There's cousins that are related around the world. And it was named after American botanist Asa Gray. Grey anotoxin is also known as andromedotoxin. It's got a whole bunch of other names. Oh, rhodotoxin. There we go. So it's from rhododendrons. Grey anotoxins are produced by
You get them
rhododendrons.
from Turkey, do you? You get them in Turkey?
Get rhododendrons all over the place.
You can get them in a number of places.
Yeah, so grey anotoxins are produced by the rhododendron species and other plants in the family Ericaceae. Honey made from the nectar and so containing the pollen of these plants contains grey anotoxins, commonly referred to as mad honey for bees. Consumption of the plant or any of its secondary products, including mad honey, can cause a rare poisonous reaction called grey anotoxin poisoning, mad honey disease, honey intoxication, or rhododendron poisoning from bees. It is most frequently produced and consumed in regions of Turkey and Nepal as a recreational drug and traditional medicine. Yeah, I've read about mad toxin before. It doesn't sound too nice. Mad honey, yeah. Oh wow, a voltage-gated sodium channel with group 2 receptor sites domains highlighted in red. That is a lot of stuff going on there. Mechanism of actions. It interferes with voltage-gated sodium channels located in the cell membrane of neurons. So, in other words, it scrambles up your brains.
Brains.
It binds to approximately 10 micromoles, 10 micro M. I don't know what M stands for. But of the group 2 receptor site located in segment 6 of domains 1 and 4, other toxins that bind to the include alkaloids, vetridine, bactrotoxin, and aconitin. No idea what those are. Experiments using squid axonal membranes indicate sodium channel binding likely occurs on the internal. We experimented on squids with bees. Just an excuse to say bees. Clinical effects. Although mad honey used in traditional medicine in Turkey, the majority of grey toxin poison occurs in middle-aged males who use the honey for perceived sexual enhancement. Slowing of the heart rate and lowering of the blood pressure are typical effects reported in one review of cases. Dizziness, nausea, fainting, weakness are reported as common neurological outcomes. Other early onset symptoms may include doubled and blurred vision, hypersalivation, perspiration, paresthesia. What is paresthesia? Paresthesia in extremities. May feel like numbness. And around the mouth. In higher doses, symptoms include loss of coordination, severe and progressive muscle weakness, electrocardiographic changes of bundle branch block or ST segment elevations are seen in ischemic myocardial threat. Is this just a thing like whenever you go on Wikipedia now, they're just going to make you swallow a thesaurus of medical terms?
Yeah.
A nodal rhythm or Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. What is Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome? Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome is something to do with the heart. Heart arrhythmia. The primary mediator of grey toxin is pathophysiology. Anyway, what's this got to do with torturing animals to death or sometimes not to death?
Yeah.
We were talking about animal abuse, not grey toxins.
Yeah. We didn't want to talk about boring stuff.
No, we want to talk about animals getting abused by Dr. Antonio Fauci. I know you're champing at the bit, Fraser. You want to tell us about what Dr. Anthony Fauci's done to these poor defences. Why beagles of all things? That's what I want to know, Fraser. Like of all the dogs, why can't
you tell us about it? Why don't you tell us about it?
Why can't he experiment with pit bulls? I mean, do you think anybody would give a shit if he was torturing pit bulls to death for sand fleas?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, actually, there's probably quite a few people that'd be upset if he was torturing pit bulls to death. But I'm probably saying probably not as many people that are upset that he was torturing beagles to death. I mean, call me fucking biased here. Call me a dog supremacist, but I think beagles are superior to pit bulls. I mean, I've never heard of somebody that's been bitten to death by a beagle. You know what? Because I know.
Look that up.
I'm going to say to Grok, why are beagles used in animal experiments like the one Dr. Anthony Fauci did with sand fleas and not other breeds like pit bulls? Let's see what Grok says about that, because he's going to search for me. Beagles are the most common dog breed used in biomedical research and toxicity testing worldwide, primarily due to practical, historical and behavioural reasons, not because they are biologically better for modelling human disease than other breeds. I like it. It's like, hey, let's try out these poisons on some dogs. Hey, beagles, you're really cute. Let's give you some of this nicotine derivative. Main reason beagles are preferred size. They are small to medium, typically 20 to 30 pounds, which makes them easier and cheaper to house, feed, transport and handle in large numbers compared to bigger breeds. Docile and cooperative in temperament.
Yeah.
Beagles are friendly, even-tempered and generally non-aggressive. They tolerate handling procedures and lab environments well without fighting back or becoming overly stressed or aggressive. It's repeatedly cited by both researchers and critics. I can't make funny jokes about that. It's not as if it's bees. Historical precedent and breeding infrastructure. Beagles were already widely bred in the US and UK for hunting. They were hunting the dogs? No, they used the dogs for hunting. Dedicated lab breeding lines were established decades ago, providing standardised, healthy, purpose-bred animals with known genetics and health histories. The standardised model reduces variability in experiments. Regulatory and practical standards. Many guidelines and historical data are based on beagles, so switching breeds will require new baselines. Other factors include the pack-oriented nature, the adaptive group housing, and relatively predictable responses in toxicology studies. Pit bull type dogs were historically bred for strength, tenacity, and gameness, which is persistence in confrontations. In a lab setting requiring repeating handling, restraint, blood draws, dosing, or invasive procedures, this would make them far more dangerous to staff and harder to manage humanely. Beagles are chosen because they are forgiving and compliant.
Sparta!
Size and strength. Larger, more muscular breeds require more space, food, and stronger handling. Standardization of ethics and public perception. Labs prefer uniform, purpose-bred animals. Stronger breeds would likely lead to more incidents and welfare concerns. Sorry, it's not sandfly, it's sandflies. These refer to the NIAID funded or related studies in Tunisia involving beagles to research leishmaniasis, a parasitic disease transmitted by sandflies. Some involve exposing dogs to infected sandflies to test vaccines or drugs. Controversial details like heads in mesh cages were widely publicised by groups like White Coat Waste Project. There was debate over the exact funding attribution for specific protocols, but beagles are staffed for such parasite vector studies. This sits the broader pattern. Beagles are used because research can reliably work with them and child repeat. Animal testing in general, including on dogs, is heavily regulated but remains controversial. Efforts are ongoing to reduce dog use for alternatives like organ-on-chip tech, computer modelling, and other species. Numbers of much like circumcision, but that's a story for another time. Should you circumcise your beagle? We asked Dr. Tony Fauci. Circumcise your beagle for medical experiments.
So he's still alive.
With the
from
fig.
I'm just putting some new changing the whatsits around.
No, Hemi's got a dog. It's not a beagle, but are you thinking to yourself? No, sorry, that's very gauche of me.
I'm just doing the sound. I'm just changing the soundboard.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
There was one I was going to put on, but I've completely forgotten what it was.
No, I can't think. Oh, what if we get a bunch of? Oh no, I can't even say this. A bunch of animals crying out in pain. That'll be a wonderful thing for the soundboard. Hey guys, here's top 10 animals that have been abused by Dr. Fauci. Number 1, beagles. Number 2, bunny rabbits. Number 3, lab rats. Some say that Dr. Fauci gets off on torturing animals.
Now these people.
But we say
Now
that
these people.
that is
Now these
unsubstantiated.
people.
That is unsubstantiated. And is actually a rumor
Now
that,
these people.
that has been debunked by
Now these
Snopes and BBC Verify, which
Now
no
these
longer
people.
exists. Steady down there,
Now
Mr.
these people.
Mr. Collett. No, silence.
That's extremely anti-Semitic, Mr. Collins.
So, no, Mr. Collett, look, pipe down in the back. Oh no.
We both got autism, haven't we?
Fucking paid what, 20 grand a year to be a fucking knobhead?
Now these people.
What's this one?
Jelly tits ash.
Oh yeah. I was just like, what's JTA stand for?
JTA only stands for one thing.
Yeah. No, these
So anyway,
people.
I've got some more bee facts.
Bee facts about bees.
In the Battle of Tango in German East Africa, now Kenya,
Mm.
during World War One, both the invading British forces and the defending Germans were attacked on the battlefield by swarms of angry bees,
Bees.
which caused the British attack to fail when a swarm drove off one of their infantry regiments. British propaganda from the time portrayed the bee attack as a fiendish German plot that used tripwires to aggravate the hives of the insects. Actually, are bees actually insects? They're insects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got 6 legs. Now, what's the
So
word?
during the Vietnam War in the 1960s and 70s, Viet Cong guerrillas were said to have carefully relocated wild hives of the Asian giant honeybee, Apis dorsata, along the trails used by enemy patrols. One fighter would wait until a nearby patrol approached before setting off a firework near the hive to aggravate the bees and attack the enemy soldiers.
Bees.
About cattle. Have you ever heard about cattle used in battle?
Well, what about like when they'd have rotting cow and then they'd
At
throw
the Battle
them?
of Tondibi in West Africa in 1591, the defending army of the Songhai Empire opened the engagement
How
with
high?
a charge. What?
How high?
Songhai.
How high?
Songhai.
That high?
That's how high. Yeah.
That's quite high
Stampeding cattle.
indeed.
Opened the engagement with a charge of 1,000 stampeding cattle against the lines of Moroccan infantry. A tactic that
Hey,
worked
Harry,
in the
I've
past
got a
against
joke
enemies
for
who
you.
had no guns. But the Moroccans did
knock.
have guns which spooked the cattle. The creatures stampeded back
Harry.
into the Songhai army, who lost the battle and eventually lost control of the empire.
I have a joke for you. Right? Knock knock.
Who's there?
An interrupting cow.
And until
Moo!
Hop it.
Yeah.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Done up.
Done up what? Who?
Have you really?
Done up who? Oh right, okay. Oh, hey. Fraser was saying a joke about painting the other day. So it is a joke, right? So it's an old chip. My
It just felt like it was the other day.
Oh.
Yeah, he does.
So earlier on in this show today, which was today and not the other day. Now my priest, right? It's an old church, right? And they're saying, oh look, we need to do some renovations, and so the priest was like taking a fee in the homily, saying, oh look, we could do some.
Dom is just well actually me. He says, my mum was small when she died, Hemi, but not small enough to lose behind the sofa. Also, she wasn't wearing a shell suit.
I don't follow, but so anyway, the priest says, look, can we get some volunteers to do the painting? And, you know, some volunteers stick their hands up, right? And there's about 3 men that they agree to do it, and now unfortunately there wasn't enough paint to do the entire church, and the sort of 3 men between them are like, well, what if we water it down? And they're like, yeah, if we thin the paints, we'll be...
Freya Helen Black would like us to know, starting to call horse shit right now, down to everything on this hella of a Fugazi realm. Monoliths are just ancient data center, therefore even all water is toxic from trauma memory. Fun times.
Thank you very much. So anyway, they're painting the church, and they've watered down the paint so that it goes further.
IC3 joggers would like to remember Hobbit posting that video of cats who were given non-raw food, and then the cats were thrown at a wall, and the scientist said, see, if they don't eat raw meat, they can't jump.
You know what? He's just reminded me of an important scientific experiment they conducted on spiders to prove that they've got ears on their legs. They hear with their legs, right? So the way that it is, right, they detect sounds with their legs.
So they bang the table in if they don't run off.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
you see, if you bang a table, the spiders run away because they hear the noise of you banging the table. It's always a loud noise, better run away. Now, if you surgically remove the spider's legs, surgically with precision, unlike what Dr. Antonio Fauci did, the spiders no longer hear the loud noise and they stop running away. Therefore, science has proven that they hear with their legs. So anyway, free priests, right? No, not free priests. Free volunteers. They're repainting the church, and they keep like thinning the paint more and more because they just realise, like, look, even though we thin the paint down, it's not going to go that far. We have to do more and more coats. And the priest's like, oh look, I'll go and get some more paint, right? And so he's like, oh well, I won't be able to afford much because the collection wasn't that great. And he talks to this guy in the paint shop, and he's rich, and he just says, "Oh look, Father, I'll get this paint for you." And it's it's brilliant, really, thanks. So how much? Well, I need probably about like 20 litres because there's a lot of church to paint. So anyway, the priest, right, he gets back into the church and he's celebrating, and he says to the 3 volunteers he paints, he says, He says, repaint, repaint, fin no more.
Yeah.
Because they're they can repaint the church and they don't have to fin
in
it.
1671, the Welsh buccaneer.
Hey, we all laughed at Fraser's gay sex joke with the farting cum on the wall. Remember, use Hello Fresh code bottoms up for 10% off of 4 free meals, high fibre meals.
Henry Morgan, who was later Sir Henry and the British governor of Jamaica, led an army of 1,000 pirates and freebooters to attack the Spanish colony of Panama City. The Panamanians had only 1,200 troops to defend the city, but they also deployed a herd of 2,400 wild cattle, which they planned to stampede into the pirate army. But the pirates stationed themselves behind a patch of swampland, which made the Panamanian cavalry and the cattle charges impossible. The wild bulls were finally released late in the battle, but the pirates managed to divert the stampede by waving rags at the charging bulls and eventually shot down all the poor beasts with muskets. Morgan and his pirate army went on to capture and sack Panama City, which burned down a few days later and after several mysterious fires broke out. It was rumoured that Morgan himself ordered the city burned, so his drunken pirate army would be forced to move on somewhere else.
When you say mysterious fires, were they really that mysterious? It's like a bunch of pirates come. Now, I'm not sure if you know this about pirates, but
They're as mysterious as when you have a lot of Muslims move into your country and then churches start self-immolating.
Or in Japan, where the shrines that have stood for like hundreds of years, now they start mysteriously becoming combustible. Isn't it strange in all these countries, mosques and synagogues never burst into flames, but churches, Shinto shrines, pubs, school children, they all burst into flames. Weird that. Very strange.
Late in World War II, the German military forces in control of Italy ordered the flooding of the Pontine marshes south of Rome in an effort to create a malaria-filled swamp that would slow the Allied advance. The marsh had been drained in a major development project in the 20s and 30s. After Italy changed sides in 1943, the Germans took control of the country. They ordered the pumps that kept the marshes under control to be stopped. Soon the marshes start to fill with brackish water, which... What is brackish water?
Brackish water? It's water for brackish people.
Yeah, which pro-Nazi scientists had foretold. Why did you say scientists? Had foretold would encourage the return of the malarial mosquito species, Anopheles labranchii, to the marshes, as well as causing long-term damage to the agriculture of the region. Over the months that followed, the Allies and Germans fought several battles of the swamps in the Pontine marshes. The water and mud got deeper amid worsening outbreaks of mosquito-borne malaria that badly affects soldiers on both sides. But in the end, the mosquitoes and malaria were not enough to stop the Allied advance. After the war, the Pontine marshes were drained once more and the region began free of malaria since the 1950s.
You telling me they drained the swamp in Italy?
Yeah.
That's anti-Semitic somehow.
Oh, scorpions?
Yeah.
Roman armies faced an enemy even worse than bees when they besieged the Etruscans at the city of Hatra near Mosul in modern-day Iraq in 198 BC. Before bees.
In 198 bees count.
In 198
I mean,
BC.
198 bees doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. Well, if it was in your trousers, that'd be something different, wouldn't it?
I think even one bee would be enough then.
According to ancient accounts, the Etruscans seem to have perfected a method of handling scorpions without endangering themselves, which allowed them to fill clay pots.
I know it's this amazing technique called get a slave to do it for you.
Use a bit of paper and a pint glass. Not difficult.
The way I did it, because growing up in a place where there was scorpions, which was not a very
It's supposed to be the small ones are more poisonous, aren't they? The bigger ones are less poisonous.
Yeah. So
the big ones are like a bee sting, aren't they? Whereas the little ones are poisonous.
It was around about midnight or maybe 1 a.m, and I woke up and I was just like, okay, what's that? Why am I awake? And I was like, I detected movement, and then I turned the light on, and I was like, oh, there's a scorpion on the ceiling above me when I'm in bed. So I woke up my cousin. I said, hey. And he says, what? I was like, hey, there's I'm just like 6 years old at the time. I said, there's a scorpion above me. He's like, It's like, yeah, I don't like it. It's like, no, you just imagine. It's like, no, but look, open your eyes and look. And he's like, and then he was like, oh yeah, there is a scorpion. It's, what do you want me to do? It's like, well, look, he's not above you, so go and get a broom or in a bucket or something. And then eventually what happened is, like, I got out of bed, he got out of bed, and he held the bucket whilst I got a broom. And the idea was that I was going to knock it into the bucket, but instead it went on the broom. And then it started running towards me. And so I dropped the broom and screamed, and everybody else woke up. And my grandparents weren't too pleased about me screaming at 3 a.m, whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, I was scared. I don't want a scorpion to be above me.
So anyway, they filled a load of clay pots with dozens of
bees?
scorpions.
Oh,
Threw it onto
scorpions.
the Romans. The insects fell into the Romans' eyes and on all the unprotected parts of their bodies, wrote Herodian of Syria during the 3rd century AD.
That's
Digging
horrible.
in before they were noticed, they bit and stung the soldiers. The hot climate and disease among the attackers did the rest. The Romans eventually had to give up the siege of Hatra.
That's horrible. I mean, you know, in war it's pretty nasty because people get maimed and...
Oh, Hobbit, see, what you should have done is the Etrenians handled the scorpions by spitting on their tails, which only puts them out of action and allows people to pick them up.
Yeah. Hey, cousin, watch me as I hock a loogie 8 foot up at the ceiling.
Just you and your cousin spitting on the ceiling.
I'm going to spit on this scorpion and hopefully catch on the tail, and it won't just drop down on the ceiling and sting me in the fucking eyes.
Just your grandparents the next day going, why is there a scorpion running around the house that's covered in phlegm?
And why is our grandson... Why does he look like a pumpkin that's fit to burst? Because I got stung in the face by a scorpion. Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the other thing we haven't spoke about is the space race, have we?
Oh, boy, howdy. Dogs in space and monkeys and what have you.
So the first animal flight,
Yeah.
Actually it's not an animal, was a flask filled with fruit flies, which reached an altitude of 68 miles on a US test flight.
Nice. Did they...
The flask of flies descended by parachute and they were recovered still alive.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure the scientists were really pleased and not disappointed in the slightest.
Yeah. And those flies went on to eat beagles for Anthony Fauci.
Well, they're fruit flies. They went on to eat bananas that were left out for a couple of minutes.
Mice, frogs, guinea pigs, dogs and monkeys also earned their astronaut wings in the years that followed. A rhesus monkey named Albert became the first primate of space in 1948, also aboard an American V-2 rocket.
An American V-2 rocket?
Laika
Well,
went into
now,
orbit.
when you say an American V-2 rocket, it's like, hello, John Wayne Coca-Cola Bang Bang, mein Name ist Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
I am NASA now.
America's most famous animal astronaut was Ham, the first hominid in space.
Oh, the monkeys. Like, I'm a monkey, deal with it.
Who flew in a prototype Mercury capsule on a Redstone rocket in January 1961. Ham was selected for the flight from more than 40 prospective astro chimps by US Air Force scientists. He'd been trained to pull on levers in response to flashing lights, receiving either banana pellet treats or mild electric shocks. Nice. The training experiments were repeated in flight without the shocks to see how his performance was affected. Ham flew for almost 17 minutes in a suborbital flight before his Mercury capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. The chimp suffered only a bruised nose during the journey and carried out all his lever pulling tasks only a fraction of a second slower than on Earth.
I'm going to do an Ian here. That monkey later on got bummed to death by Michael Jackson.
Mules. Let's see what we've got. Mules. Roman legionaries were allotted 1 mule for every group of 8 soldiers who shared a tent together to carry their belongings and supplies. In 49 BC, Julius Caesar began his rebellion against Rome by crossing the river Rubicon in a carriage drawn by a team of mules, which had been borrowed from nearby bakeries so that Caesar could travel without raising suspicion.
Well, that's interesting you mentioned that because now... No, okay, so do you know much about like the Reformations and the Roman legions?
No.
So before the Roman army, before it was a professional one, it was kind of like the duty of all citizens to be part of Rome's armies. So you'd have your hastati, which were like your free citizens, and they would have like basic. No, the soldiers that were pressed into service and were too poor to afford like proper armor, they were the velites. Velites. They were javelin men. They were skirmishers, and then the ones which could afford basic armor and a sword, they were the hastati. The principes were the veteran soldiers with better armor, and then the proper veterans were called the Chiari. And then in the Marian Reformation, they were like, no, let's do away with all that. We'll make it that you don't. All your arms and armor are provided by the state, and the idea behind that was like, well, if we do this, then they'll be better trained and stuff, and then
Well, also it should allow for meritocracy, which means the better
We-
people rise up rather than
yeah. So what happened then is you had like the Roman legionaries. That's when we had the Roman Empire, and it was called the Marian Reformations because I think it was called General Marius, and the legionaries were also like disparagingly called Marius's mules because the legionaries were expected to carry all of their equipment on their backs. And funny enough, like I believe the amount of equipment the Roman soldiers were carrying on their backs was about 30 kilograms, and it's been like ever since antiquity, like all armies have understood that the most amount of weight you can have a soldier carry without getting like unduly exhausted is 30 kilograms, no more. So, Marius's mules.
Have you heard about this one then? Apparently moose were less successful in warfare. In the early 1900s, attempts by the Swedish army and Russian army were made to domesticate the moose. The idea was that the moose could trek better through deep snow than any other domestic animal at the time.
That's
The
true.
moose, however, proved to be more of a hazard than a help in battle, as the moose's natural instinct is to hide overpowered their training to stay. What the fuck? The natural instinct to hide.
Oh, so right.
Their natural instinct to hide overpowered their training to
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
There's a comma missing there. Domestication of the moose was pursued by the Swedish army until the Soviet Finnish War in 1939. The Russian military abandoned the idea when World War II began, as the moose was still not prepared.
What's the collective noun for moose? Mises?
Mooses?
Hey, leave a comment in the chat. What is the collective noun for nooses? What is the collective noun for nooses, and how would Dr. Anthony Fauci torture them?
Oh, Japan used insects as weapons in World War II in order to infect China with cholera and plague. Japan
Wow,
used
that's
insects
amazing. Now,
sprayed-
in unrelated news, have you heard about these Lone Star ticks with alpha-gal and how like instance of alpha-gal infections have skyrocketed in America?
No.
All right. Well, there's these ticks, and they've got alpha-gal, which makes you allergic to meat. And
How about this one? Records describing the siege of Jimmo in 279 BC in eastern China tell a commander frightened and subsequently defeated invaders by dressing up 1,000 oxen as dragons. The dragons were released at the enemy camp in the middle of the night, causing panic amongst surprised soldiers.
moo, moo. Oh no, that is sound of dragon.
A dragon moo like an oxen.
Oh, that mighty dragon! Look at the fire breath coming out of his mouth. It's
No.
like,
How about
Look,
this one? In World
If
War
dragons weren't real, those soldiers wouldn't be afraid of some moose in a fucking skirt.
you know
In
what?
World War One, trained
That is
parrots
true.
were positioned on the Eiffel Tower in order to warn against incoming aircraft. Problem arose when it was found that the parrots couldn't tell a German plane from an Allied one. Just fucking
Considering that people, like even autists like myself, struggle to tell the difference in silhouette between a de Havilland Mosquito, a Hurricane, a Spitfire, or a Messerschmitt or a Heinkel. Maybe like it's harder to teach these sort of things to parrots. Maybe, possibly, maybe. Yeah, so weird things done with animals. Lone Star ticks. Now, here's an interesting thing, and I'm sure these are just unrelated coincidences, but I'm going to just say them, and we'll just say it's an interesting coincidence. Now, as we all know, friend of Anthony Fauci is Bill Gates, and Bill Gates is very interested in his artificial meat labs. He's like, oh, I've got this vat-grown meat, and yeah, it's more expensive than meat. It doesn't taste like meat, but, I'm going to call it meat. And he says, bonus, if you're allergic to red meat because you've contracted alpha-gal, then you can still eat my artificial meat because it doesn't trigger the allergen, which I just find is an interesting coincidence because the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have been breeding hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of ticks. Now, these Lone Star ticks, they're not necessarily bred to be infected with alpha-gal, but some swivel-eyed conspiracy theorists would say that that is precisely what's going on, and they're being used as a biological weapon to poison people to make them allergic to red meat. But again, just a coincidence, and I'm not saying that's happening. Bill Gates, please don't bully.
In 2010, a former version of the 1st Battalion Yorkshire Regiment, who were based in Munster, Germany at the time, welcomed visitors at the camp gate with some furry and sometimes disobedient recruits. Ferrets Imphal and Quebec were a gift to the battalion by a farmer near their base. During the First World War, ferrets would be used when there were food shortages. They could be encouraged down holes to bring up rabbits to be eaten. And obviously,
I
as
believe
you know,
that's called
if
ferreting.
if you eat rabbits are like celery. If you eat a rabbit, it's got no calories and no.
Yeah, if you eat a single rabbit, you will die instantly.
Yeah.
Rabbits are like you know the dark crystal when it sucks all the life essence out of the galfling. As soon as you bite into the rabbit, that's what happens. You like the life force leaves your eyes.
About helping farmers in Afghanistan in March 2011.
I love helping farmers in Afghanistan. Bill Gates
The
said.
Veterinary Teaching Initiative was established by troops from Delta Company of Canterbury-based 5 Scots to help develop farming across Helmand, assisting local veterinarians to tackle some of the many problems arriving at their doors. Many farmers would bring their animals to clinics that were supported by the Afghanistan government. Some animals had worms or internal problems.
Would those
What internal problems would a goat in Afghanistan?
Would those problems include bruising to the vagina and anus, perhaps?
Yeah, I think maybe, yeah.
That's really unfortunate. How would you get bruising to the vagina and anus if you're a goat in Afghanistan?
My goat, it sat down really hard.
My goat has alpha-gal syndrome. It was bitten by Bill Gates' Lone Star ticks.
Dogs, I haven't found many more new ones.
Dogs. They are edible. Ask Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, why do you eat dog?
Early metamorphosis insertion technology. Have you heard this one, Hobbit?
Easy for you to
The
say.
document revealed experiments were taking place in the 1940s to discover whether microsystems could be reliably inserted into pupas for insect control. They would cut pupas in half and insert pipes for hormone transport. They said it's a challenge to implant electronic systems to modulate the insect's flight without disturbing the insect's own efficient flight mechanism. They are able to prove when halved, a pupa will still develop into a moth. They then successfully inserted a glass tube to transport hormones between the two halves. The next step was to create a miniature flying cyborg by correctly inserting microsystems to control the insect. It discovered that insertion during the early or late pupae stage, resulting in fair to good electrical and mechanical coupling. There were concerns whether micro air vehicle or insect-sized autonomous aircraft would be able to create enough lift or energy to work for long periods. The 88-page document said EMIT can benefit from any insect animal that has metamorphic development, moths, butterflies, beetles, etc., to create the insect cyborgs with different locomotion capabilities.
Do you know, I know this is probably not where you're going with this thing of using insects things, but I saw a thing on Facebook Marketplace, and it was called, it was for, an advert for eyelashes, and the let's just say the lady who was modelling these eyelashes had Section 8 vibes, if you catch my drift.
Section.
Now, she said she made the eyelashes out of cockroach legs and said they're a bit scratchy when wearing them, so try not to blink. And I'm just like, lady, I don't think you should be making eyelashes out of cockroaches, but I mean, who am I to judge? When the black lady's making cosmetics, I sit down, shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Section 8, sorry.
Should do.
A Section 8 lady of Section 8-ness.
Oh, I found one about a rhinoceros. Where is it?
Hey, do you know what they're calling those pineapple Kool-Aid spears?
What?
Well, they're calling them a certain type of pickles. Pickles.
Now these people.
Yes.
Right, it is 12 minutes past.
Yeah.
but we
And
weren't
what you
actually
going to finish off with, Fraser? Because you said you had.
Bye, I'm going to bed. Bye, good night.
Oh, right, okay then.
And my character's vomiting. I just had some gone off.
This is Sparta!
He ate an expired tuna salad MRE ration, and I don't think it worked too well.
Oh god,
He-
that sounds like it's bad.
he
Fraser's
vomited.
declaring it's the end of the show because he's going to take his ball home.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what,
I'm gonna
Fraser?
take my fentanyl and I'm gonna go and like.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fentanyl. We're going
I'm
on
gonna
some
go
of that.
take my fentanyl and I'm gonna crawl up a wall or something.
We're on some of that good shit.
Dude, shit.
Oh, remember, you use HelloFresh code bottoms up for fentanyl and homosexual friendly food because your arsehole's going to fall out and your shit's going to come out
Oh
and
shit, we didn't
stink.
find any rabbit related quote because Alphabet Cat said Watership Down did warn us about it. Oh, tell us about your conversation with your dad about Watership Down because that is funny, I bet.
Yeah, so my dad was like, oh, I don't think that book's really realistic. It's like, with dad, look, he studied rabbit behaviour and they really do that sort of thing. Yes, they are violent and they do try and disembowel one another. He's like, what, rabbits? And it's like, yeah, believe it or not, the book's actually won awards for like how accurate it is. And he's like, ah, but I thought rabbits were nice. And it's like, yeah, they are nice, Dad, but they're also violent. You know, they can be both things at the same time, unfortunately.
Fauci and Mother Teresa, shocking similarities, says Friar Hellenbach.
Well, you see, one of them would experiment on animals, and the other one would experiment on Hindus. And there's some like, you know,
Oh. Alphabet Cat would like to remind us in Korea, dog isn't just for Christmas. Hopefully there's some left over for Boxing Day as well.
yeah, yes, that is also popular in Cantonese.
That's going
cuisine.
to go down really well for that bloke that said we were, I don't know, evil, bigot, racist, murderers or something.
Did he say wibble wobble? I've been disgusted, and you'll never got on the BBC
No,
with
there
that
was the other one
attitude.
who said these are just like horrible, horrific tropes. Do you remember that one?
Well, that to me sounds like a bigoted and unfounded opinion, and that guy
It
should
sounds highly
educate.
anti-Semitic to say.
To me,
say
it
that.
sounds like you're speaking from a place of ignorance, and you need to get some education on what our show is about.
You need to get some education, don't
Yeah, you need to like and subscribe. Well, you need to subscribe, leave a comment for the algorithm, and if you liked the episode, then press the like button. If you didn't like the episode, there is a button for that.
you? You can still press the like button.
Yeah, well, I'm saying there is a button for that if you disliked
Remember,
it.
just remember, it's a huge thing for us, and it's a small thing for you.
Oh, just briefly
Don't
aside.
forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I'm trying to think of all the tropes I hear on all.
Well, you can go to our merch store, which is kays.teespring.com, and you know, you can show your support for 40 and Words by wearing a
We need,
beanie.
we need to find out if Stephen Dawson has one. We need to change it to Stephen Dawson merch. But more people should watch Stephen Dawson. He's
No,
very wholesome film.
no,
And he-
no, they should not.
And he doesn't wipe his bum on the shelves in Tesco and all that because he wouldn't even do that anyway.
No, less people need to watch Steve Dawson. Thank you. We need to protect and gatekeep these precious assets. They're not
Do
for.
you think he'd do that? do think he'd wipe his butt on the
all I'm
shelves in
saying is
Chelsea,
that
the
Steve,
local Tesco's.
no, but local Asda maybe. All I'm saying is Steve Dawson would never ever wipe his bum on the corner of.
He wouldn't do that anyway.
He wouldn't wipe his bum on the corner of a sink. He'd never do such a thing.
He wouldn't do that anyway.
He's better than that.
Anyway, that's... Oh God, I've started talking like Stephen Dawson now.
Anyway, I wouldn't end a show like that anyway.
Fraser needs to go for a poo. I think when he says he's going to bed, I think it's code word for he needs to go for a poo.
Well, it is better to have a poo before you go to bed.
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
If you are going to poo, always poo before you go to bed, because otherwise you have to roll over in it and then it goes cold.
Unless your name is Hamblin Reed, in which case, knock yourself out.
Yeah, just wipe it on the corner of the sink with a rag on it.
Please, Becky, wipe my bum. I've had a bad case of diarrhea. I've had a bad case of diarrhea. Oh, that's a great song.
I think we need to get a Rumble wallet, and then we can get donations.
Is that like a code for Carmelo Anthony's pussy lips? the Rumble wallet.
That's the prison pocket, not the Rumble wallet.
Oh, I see. I thought this was a new lexicology that the Section 8 gentlemen have just come up with.
Anyway, it's good night from us, and stay spooky, and remember, if you are an animal, try not to go anywhere
But,
near the military, 'cause it's not gonna
If you want more of this irreverent comedy humour, we are continuing on BBC Two right now because the live stream's still carrying on, and I'm gonna do it for a
Bobby's
while.
going to talk to himself. I need to get that Bible passages thing still.
Well, yeah. Well, good luck with that. But just to remind
I think I might take the Zorin one out and install just the flat pack one.
you, I would suggest using Flatpak because I have been using it all this episode, and we're still going. Yep, we're still live on
Well,
the.
see, I'm going now. I've deleted one of them.
Ah, well, I think it was a conflict then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably trying to access the same resources at the same time.
Yeah.
I had that
Anyway.
problem with my microphone.
Anyway,
Yes.
good night and all that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
and stay spooky.
Woo. Just a reminder, we're not off the air because I haven't stopped streaming on my end.
I haven't really. So,
So-
Fraser, don't say you're going for poo.
Yeah, and
Going for a poo. No, okay.
well, if you're taking fentanyl, then you don't have to go for a poo. That's one of the perks of opiates.
I wish I was taking fentanyl, to be honest.
Yeah. What?
Anyway, see you
Mate,
later, boys.
what about codeine? That's this. Well, never mind. That's a conversation for
Yes,
another
on
time.
Another day.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you, mate. Right, so that was it. That was a 4TM Words, and this is something that we do every Thursday. And as I said, I'll be playing this for a bit more because, well, here's the thing. Scum has... let's just look up here whilst this is going on because we... Can I just... It's all right. I don't think you get to see anything. I'm trying to look up so that... There we go. We're obscured. Scum has had an update recently, and I remember when I first played it in Linux, I was like, oh, this is actually working worse than on my Windows computer. So for reference, this is my main PC, and it's my best PC, and it's got an AMD graphics card and it's running Linux. My backup PC runs Windows 10, and it's Windows 10, and it's got what? It's got an NVIDIA graphics card in it. Oh, and I guess I probably strained my hernia or something pushing the card. Let's do that again then. I'm trying to build up like a map of where all the vehicles are so I can sort of cannibalize parts and put them together. So yeah, when I was first playing Scum, I noticed it wasn't working too good. And since that time, I've said, well, instead of trying to do it in DirectX, do it in Vulkan. So now I'm using Vulkan instead of DirectX. It's working fine. I mean, if I go to my options and go graphics, or is it video? Yeah, if you see here, the VSync has turned off. So if have I limited it to FPS? No, I don't think I have. So if I turn that on and apply, oh, could I make that? That's a bit better. Yeah. Now, because the FOV is small in first person view, it also makes things a bit more zoomed in, because as you can see, I've got 90-degree FOV, which just, I think, gives me better. Now, you'll have to excuse the jerky movements. I'm not using a mouse to do this. This is my mouse over here, so if I get my mouse, as you can see, it's fast move, but if I use my trackball, see, I'm still getting used to it. I've got, those bleeding injuries will be fine. Now, is there any... Yeah, so I'll take that hands now. Yep, got plenty of bullets. Like so. Yep. What's this? Pharmacy. Yeah, there's probably some good stuff in here. He says. You know what? Options. Yeah, that's a bit better. Oh, some painkillers, they come in useful. If you take too much pain, you can't run anymore. Painkillers can help with that. Oh, a bit of cash. Yeah. Let's equip one of those and light it. That's my metabolism. I'm good for energy, I'm good for water. If I go to my health, my exhaustion is now recovering because I'm having a smoke break. So yeah, it's all pretty good, I'd say. Have I lit this? There we go. Having a smoke. Oh, isopropyl alcohol, that would be useful. Because if I got some rags, you see, I can take the rags and I can do something with the rags. I can sterilize them using the isopropyl alcohol. You can also do it with strong ethanol. So if you've got like vodka or something, you can use that to sterilize rags. And that way, when bandaging yourself, you use the sterile rags, and then you are less likely to get an infection. Because one of the horrible things about combat is it's very unfortunate, but sometimes during combat, germs get inside wounds, and that can cause infections. In fact, that was one of the big problems they had during the Vietnam War, is people's wounds were getting infected, and keeping things sterile, especially in the jungle environment, was very tricky. Not impossible, but it made fighting there very difficult. and yeah. Of course, there was some interesting experiments there. I don't know if there was many experiments being done with animals in Vietnam, but there was some other weird stuff going on there. So, yeah, all very strange world we live in. And there's a broken world as well, and this is something which other people have pointed out before. And what I'm about to say is not anything new, but it's something I've been thinking about. The world we're in is a broken world, and the prince of this world's the devil. And because of that, very easy to sin, very easy to sort of get caught up in wanting things, and all these things keep us separate from God, and ultimately what that does is it keeps you from being happy, because you chase all these material stuff and it doesn't bring you any happiness. I mean, I had nice material things at one point. I still do. I'm very happy to have this computer. Well, yeah, I am actually. But it doesn't give us the joy of God's love. I mean, I can use the computer to find out about stuff, and I was watching a documentary today about this Flemish monk living in the Orval monastery. Now, the reason I say a Flemish monk is it's a Trappist monastery, and they're famous for their beer. Very nice beer it is too. I've had it a couple of times. The Trappist monks, they're quite a strict order as monks go, and they are French speaking, so lay persons are invited to eat with them, and they'll give you some of their beers as well, and a monk will read a blessing at the beginning of the thing, and the blessing was done in French, not in Flemish. But yeah, I mean, I was listening to the guy, and he was being interviewed, I assume. Now, I assume he was being interviewed by a Dutch guy, but I don't know too much of the difference between Dutch and Flemish to say, oh, that guy's Nederlandsch and that guy is Flemish. But the thing is, right, between the Flems and the Dutch, you can be driving and there's probably like 3 hours of drive, not even 3 hours of driving probably, between like the easternmost extent of the Netherlands and the westernmost extent of Flemish-speaking countries, with Lille in France. I think the Flemish refer to Lille as Yepers. Yepers? Well, that's it. I don't actually speak Flemish, but I think it's about IEPERs. So, let me just have a look at that myself. Let's see. If I type in IEPERs, Yepperfest, Belgian Hardcore Music Festival. Well, if I go for that then, Yepperfest is a Belgian hardcore music festival held in Yep, which in Dutch is Yepper. So Yep, let's have a look at Yep, because Yep, which is known as, now I'm going to assume that is a capital I, because otherwise this word is leper. Yep, which is, oh, can we hear it?
Ypres.
Ypres. It's Ypres. I assume you pronounce the Y as Yep, but it's Ypres. So,
Ypres.
and how do the Dutch say it?
Ypres.
Ypres. In West Flemish it's Ypres, but it's written YPA. In German it's Yerpen.
Upern.
Hang on. Say that again.
Upern.
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 So the Y is pronounced U, and then to me that looks like Pern, P-E-R-N, Upern.
Upern.
Uplan? How do you get Uplan? Anyway, it's a Belgian city municipality in the province of West Flanders. I thought... The reason I say Lille is Ypres, or Ypres, is because when I was driving to Lille, I would see in the sign in brackets, Ypres. I want to know about the place. See also... No, not... oh, whatever. It don't matter. Let's just carry on with... let's just carry on with a bit of... oh, hello, Alphabet Cat. This is not a real tournament. Warship Down warns of this. oh, it doesn't matter. Why was I talking about stuff? Oh, that was it. Yeah. I'm watching this Trappist monk, and he's giving this Dutch or Flemish guy, probably not much difference between the two languages. He's giving him a tour of the monastery and saying how great it is. And he's right, it is great. It's a brilliant place, really wonderful, and it was beautiful to see all this stuff, and I really liked it. And, you know, if it wasn't for my computer, I wouldn't know. Well, I mean, I would know about that stuff, but it's nice to see these documentaries which otherwise would be, what, inaccessible to me? Yeah, let's say it would be inaccessible to me. So that was nice. But you see, this is going to sound crazy, right? But when I was in my 20s, I seriously considered giving everything up in life and joining a monastery and just becoming a monk and just going, you know what? I can't cope with life in the outside world. I'm going to become cloistered off, and I'll just devote myself to God. Now, life had a way of making things not work that way, and I don't think it was God's plan for me to become a monk, because as I've understood, it's not a casual vocation. It's a serious commitment. And as much as I respect the monks, I don't think it's something I could do myself. And I had this interview, right, with this nun, and she was, because I was looking at the different like factions of monastic orders, and this was one of the more sort of extreme one. Oh, a discalced Carthusian. And what does discalced mean? Discalced means shoeless. So the Carthusian monks, or the Chartreuse monks, I'm probably getting the name wrong, but anyway, there's a holy order of discalced nuns and monks, and they don't wear shoes. And one of the nuns was talking about living life in the cloister, and like it's also referred to as like life behind bars, because effectively they are in, I mean, sometimes they refer to it as hermitage. They are sealed away from the outside world, and they will still be allowed out for exceptional circumstances, like if they've got an appointment with a doctor. So they will be allowed out for those things. But she was saying, oh, look, I've been to the outside world, and it's so noisy with its colours and its sounds, and I don't know how people cope with that. It would drive me mad. And I thought, well, it's funny you say that, lady, because a lot of people do go mad in this world with all the noise that's going on with it. And now, let me gather my thoughts here, right? So I just said a bunch of stuff. Her life, very extreme, very difficult, but she was saying about how liberating she found it. I don't think she was being flippant about that sort of thing. I think she was being honest and sincere. Prior to this, I saw a video, and yeah, it was annoying because it was arrogant, and it was this, I believe the term is called Negro spiritual or Negro gospel singer, and she was a very nice, good singer, but she was just singing one of her own songs, and it wasn't really very Catholic. And she was being escorted out of St. Peter's Basilica by the Vatican security. And they're saying, look, this is a quiet place, it's for quiet people, they're quietly worshipping. And so she did this about 3 times. So she said, oh, can I have just one more minute? It's like, no, you can't. And then, so it's 3 times she started singing loudly. And eventually they're just like, okay. They didn't actually hold on to her, but they did sort of like extend their arms, like, we're asking you now to leave. And she did leave, but she kept singing and she was leaving. And it's just like, well, it's being rude. And there were people in the comments saying, oh, they should have let us sing and stuff like that. And, you know, she's just worshipping. And I said, well, yeah, you know, I'm very pleased to hear people are saying stuff like that. However, and I believe there might have even been a saint who said this, because I like the saints. I think they're a very good example for all of us, right? I believe there was a saint, and he said, if you're silent, you allow God to speak to you. And I think I'm going to try and explain this, because as you can see, I'm not being silent here. I'm actually trying to do something. If you're being silent, then you allow God to speak to you, give God a chance to speak, and you can hear his voice. But if you're not silent, you'll never be able to hear God. So there's probably something to be said for living a cloistered life, away from the hustle and bustle of the world, not worrying about recharging a motorcycle battery with a car battery. There we go, now that's fully charged. So I'll put that away. And now, I would like to think me saying that, of course it is me getting one up on these idiots who think it's appropriate place to do your hollering, where people are quietly trying to pray and take in the sights of St. Peter's Basilica. Now, I never saw what it was before going there, so took me quite by surprise when I went in there. And I wasn't silent, I was talking, and the father I was following was explaining to us stuff about the place. But the security, they weren't annoyed with us, and I made the sign of the cross to them. Some of them nodded to me, some of them made the sign of the cross back. And I was it was happy. It's like, oh, well, you know what, I'm in the Vatican, and this is the one place I can make the sign of the cross at people. And it was nice seeing the nuns as well. There's plenty of nuns there. Not many monks, but there's plenty of nuns, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to make a sign of the cross to all the nuns I see. And some of them smiled, some of them nodded, but then quite a few of them, they made the sign of the cross back, and I was just like, you know what, it's nice to feel like I belong to something. Like, I get a feeling if I was to talk to these people, they'd probably get annoyed with me, they'd probably disagree with me on quite a few things, but that's okay, because the fact is, it's a big family, and then you probably find a lot of them saying, oh, well, look, you saying that is coming from a position of pride. You're not being humble. You're saying that your position's so unique that you don't have much in common with other Christians. and you're trying to feel special that somehow, oh, I'm a bigger sinner than the rest of you guys, like Saint Paul did. Saint Paul, he was like, yes, we're all sinners, but I'm the chief amongst sinners. It's like, that's a bit arrogant. But then again, he is Saint Paul, so I think it's kind of so sometimes the arrogance is justified. But yeah, monks, discalced monks, living away in cloisters, and they can talk with family. But the funny thing is, right, when they talk with family, they do it in a visitation centre, and the visitation centre is quite similar to a prison in that there will be bars, so it will prevent like physical affection because you're talking to a family through a screen. And now, on the one hand, you could say, oh, well, that sounds like a cult. And a cult has some rather negative connotations to it. It's when we think of cults, we think, yeah, that's not a very nice thing, is it? It's not very good. It's not very wholesome. You know, we don't say, oh, it's nice that your family member joined the monastic cult. So I don't think that's the right term for it, but I think we all understand that monastic orders, they're kind of a special thing. They're like, we're gonna live, but for the goodness of everybody, we're going to devote ourselves to prayer and God, and in our own quiet way, we will pray for people and help them spiritually. Whereas some say, oh no, we'll help them physically. I think like Franciscans or Dominican monks, they are more about like, yes, the prayer's all very well and good, but a good prayer is to actually help the poor and the needy. Like, I think it's the Franciscan monks, they've got this thing of hospitality where they'll say about the example of Saint Julian, the patron saint of hospitaliers, and like, you must always treat a guest, so you know, they're strangers, but you must always treat a guest as if that was our Lord Jesus himself. So you never know. There could be a stranger, and he could be that. But the thing is, it's not like, oh, we better do this because maybe that mystery guest that stayed with us one night was actually the Lord himself testing us. No, you do it in the sense of like, look, it's probably not going to be Jesus Christ visiting us. You know, if it's like some smelly hippie that smells of cannabis and he's backpacking across Europe, it's probably not our Lord, but we'll treat him with all the respect and reverence that we would for our Lord. And yeah, we'll probably get annoyed by him, especially when he tries to do a drum circle. But, you know, we'll feed him what we eat, and we'll give him a bed for the night, and then we'll wish him well on his way. And I think that, in its way, is a brilliant form of prayer. Because you think about it, right, these monks, right, they want a nice, quiet, peaceful life. That's why they're like, oh, you know, fuck this world, I can't cope with it. I'm going to go into a monastery and pray a rosary for forgiveness because I just said fuck this world. And, you know, and then, oh look, here's some smelly hippie that's come in and he's here for a good time and he knows that he can have free lodging with us because we're a monastic order and we wouldn't ask people for a donation. But that's where they get to practice charity. And if you've got a good abbot, they'd be like, yeah, look, that guy that's staying with us is a dickhead, but let's pretend he's not a dickhead. Let's pretend he's actually our Lord Jesus Christ, and he's playing a practical joke on us by acting like a dickhead. And even though he's really annoying and he's pissing you off with, like, you know, smoking hash in the monastery, let's pretend he's our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, and let's not say, look, can you fuck off now because you're really upsetting the monks. Let's just let's just take it as an act of penance where we look after him and wish him on his way, and make it so that he doesn't feel unwelcome, but let's just say, oh, look, there's a monastery to the south of us. It's really nice. It's nicer than ours, and they'd love to have you there. You should really think about moving on and seeing our brothers, our Franciscan brothers to the south, and go and lodge with them for a couple of days. And, you know, it's lovely. We're going to pray for you, and it was an honour having you with us. So, I'm probably getting it wrong. It's probably like someone saying, oh, actually, it's not the Franciscans that believe in the hospitality to strangers. It's the Dominicans or it's Benedictines. There's so many different orders devoted to all these saints, and they all do great things, and they all worship the Lord in different ways. And I think it's wonderful, and it's an area at the moment which I'm absolutely fascinated with. And look, Alphabet Cat, it's just you at the moment. You know I'm autistic, but somebody could be watching this and they don't know that I'm autistic. I am. And autists, right, I'm told, like to systematize things, and they like to catalogue things. And boy howdy, if you're autistic, does the church have a place for you? Because there is a lot of systems in the church with all these terms and facts to collect, and oh boy, it is fascinating. There's like all these things I've been learning in the past few weeks. Like, I'm really, really interested in it, and it's been a really good and satisfying period of study. So I've been enjoying that a lot, and it's also heartwarming in a way because, like, it's not just all been reading, I've been putting some of it into practice with prayers. And I've realised that some of this stuff, it can't be done with just the head. You have to do it with your heart. And you have to experience it. You have to actually go to Mass and experience the... now, here's a term I've heard my priest use. The fullness of the presence of our Lord, and it is a wonderful thing. I'm really happy to share that with people, and it really works for me. Now, I know it doesn't work for everybody, including myself 20 years ago. No, that's not true. Oh yes, it was actually. Yeah, because 20 years ago, I know what I was doing 20 years ago, and I was busy sinning, basically. And I didn't want to be told no. And that was pride. And I'm more humble now. I'm so humble, you guys. You've never met somebody as humble as me. Other people are humble, but they're not humble like I am. And, yeah, I really enjoy it. Oh, right. Autism, collecting facts and figures, systems and stuff like that. Now, some autists, their area of interest is Pokemon, and they collect Pokemon cards, and they compare them to others, and they do battles with the Pokemon, and it's all very, very interesting, right? Now, here's a thing, right, which I really like. Yeah. You can get cards of saints, and I think this is brilliant, right? You can get these saints, and they come with a little medal, which has got the depiction of the saint on them. And on the back of the card, it'll say a little bit about the saint and the prayer you can say to the saint. And I think it's great. And, like, I've got 2 cards at the moment. Okay, so I've got a card to Saint Christopher. I keep him in the car. I've got a card to Saint Anthony, but I will be getting some other ones later on. I want to get Saint Bartholomew and Saint Jerome, No, not Saint Jerome. I mean, I will get Saint Jerome at some point. I want to get Saint Bartholomew and Saint John Henry Newman, and I can't remember his name. He was recently canonised. It's not John Henry Newman. He died as a teenager as well. He's the patron saint of IT support, and I thought, well, that's brilliant. I mean, that's that's a saint for the 21st century. And yeah, you can collect all these cards, and you can have your little shrine. And I'm going to be getting a crucifix because I just realised I didn't have any crucifix in the house. I mean, I've got a cross, but it's not a crucifix. And yeah, you can collect all this stuff. Now, people don't do battles of saints, and I think probably some people say, oh, you probably shouldn't do a battle trading card game with saints, but maybe some game could be done with these saints cards, like it's saints top trumps. Like, oh, what's your saint good? Well, my saint's particularly good with animals. Or was it Saint Francis of Assisi? Yeah, how did you know? But I like that sort of stuff. You see, I think it's really brilliant. I really love it, and it's been a source of joy for me, to be honest. Oh, and yeah, in addition to Saint Christopher and Saint Anthony, I've also got God and not be a saint. So Saint Mary is definitely a saint, but kind of a special one, isn't it? It's like saying, oh, well, you got soldiers, but then you got Rambo. I mean, Rambo is a soldier, but he's kind of like his own thing as well. So Mary, I've got a miraculous medal, and it's got, what does it say on it? Well, it's got, hang on, it's attached to my neck, so I'll have to take it off to have a look what it says. But I liked the inscription. I thought, yeah, I agree with that. So let's have a look at this miraculous medal, and it says Saint. Hang on, I'm just trying to make out the words. Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. And on the back there's a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, there's a picture of another heart, and it's got an M, and there's a cross through the M, and I think I remember reading the story and just thought, yeah, I'm convinced. I'm gonna have Mary. I'm gonna have and it's got number 1830 to it, so that's my miraculous medal. And I think I remember reading some debate about whether you should wear a crucifix or whether you should wear a thing on your shoulder or a miraculous medal. And people saying, well, the medals are designed to be worn, so I keep that. And it's been nice. Now, I know I haven't really talked about it much before, and you may be saying to yourself, Hobbit, why all the God bothering and Bible bashing? Because, you know, it's not really something I've talked about much before, but a friend of mine, and he's a friend of Hemi's as well, he's not baptised, and recently he's been interested in this sort of stuff, and his study has so far been focused on Greek or Eastern Orthodoxy. I'm not too familiar with one or the other, but he is interested in that sort of thing. Apparently the Eastern Orthodox have a disagreement over the Holy Spirit, and specifically it's a thing called the Filioque, which I don't really understand myself. And to me, I just like, how can this cause a schism between the two churches? But, well, theologians get very, very obsessed with these sorts of things, which I think sad because you've ended up with a schism between the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox. And, I mean, was it necessary? I don't know. It sounds like it wasn't the only objection they had. They also had an objection to the Pope in Rome being like the ultimate authority in a lot of these issues. I think that was probably more to do with it than this minor theological quibble over where does the Holy Spirit come from. But officially it's said that, oh well, you know, the Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Catholic Church disagree over the origins of the Holy Spirit and whether it comes exclusively from God the Father or whether it comes from God the Son and that. Anyway, I don't want to focus too much on that. Point being is, a friend of mine, he's done a load of like research into the theory, and I think it's brilliant because I'm not well read on Christianity, which, you know, is going to sound a bit strange considering I've just been talking about all this stuff. I'm not. I like the stories. I think the saints have set brilliant, like, examples for us to follow in our lives, and we should aspire to be like the saints. We should aspire to be like Jesus, but come on, you know, none of us are perfect, and that's why I think the saints are a far more realistic proposition, because saints are humans like you and I, and they've done sin. Wow. Some of them, like Mary, are without sin. But he's done a load. Our friend, Hemi and I's friend, he's done loads of research about this stuff, and he's telling me all these things about the Orthodox. And I've been listening to, you know, some of the Orthodox talking about various spiritual matters, and I gotta say, the ones I've been listening to, I really like them. Some of them seem very serene and peaceful, and I got a feeling they have the fullness of God with them. And when I find out that they're in partial communion with the Church of Rome, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. The Roman Catholic Church has spoken with these people, and they're like, you know what? We agree probably on 95% of the same things. And that was the other thing, like, I've been learning, right? Not everybody makes the sign of the cross the same way. To me, I think also to Anglicans, because Hemi, who's Church of England, told me this. If you make the sign of a cross, well, I'm going to do it now, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Now, you go on your forehead, then you're supposed to do it on your heart, but I do it on my belly, because I just do. And then you cross your shoulders for the Holy Spirit. Now, I've been watching these Orthodox guys, priests, and when they make the sign of the cross, they start with the shoulders, and then it's head and chest, and it's like, that's interesting. They're doing it differently to me. It's still the sign of the cross, it's still correct, but it's different. And I find that really interesting. So it's been good. Now, I've been thinking to myself, why have I had this sudden interest? Well, it's been building for a while now, and I don't really talk about it when I do this stuff, but I may as well now, because it's been on my mind a lot. So for the past few years, I've been like reaffirming my faith. Is that the right term? Yeah, I've made claims that I'm a Catholic, and I'm happy saying I'm Catholic, and more than Christian, I am Roman Catholic. And I when I say that, I'm also I'm a universalist, so I'm happy that my mutual friend, or our mutual friend, is interested in becoming Christian and wants to be baptized, and I'm hoping I can be present at his baptism, even if it is Eastern Orthodox. But look, I'm Catholic, but I respect this tradition, and I'm here to celebrate the baptism of my friend. And I think this is a joyous occasion, regardless of, you know, the minor theological differences we might have. And I'm preparing myself for all these statements because, like, if will I be challenged by the priest? Say, hey, I'm not looking to convert. You know, I'm happy in my faith, but I'm just delighted that my friend. No, I mean, ideally, I'd like him to be baptized as Catholic because I want everybody to be baptized as Catholic, and that. But I think if the schism is healed between our two churches, then that's fine. So it doesn't matter if he gets baptized as Eastern Orthodox because it's still a valid baptism. Yeah. Alright, so me, why am I such a God botherer? Well, the main reason is I'm a sinner and I don't want to be apart from God anymore. So I'm trying to get right with God by going to Mass and doing the sacrament of reconciliation, which means going to confession and confessing my sins. So I'm doing all of that because and also I get to sing hymns, which is brilliant. I love hymns. It's great fun singing, and the Lord likes it too, so you should do that. Yeah, so definitely sing hymns. So I've been doing it because, but the other reason is, right, all my grandparents are dead and I miss them, and not all of them died peacefully, and I had a horrible vision this morning of my grandmother. Look, these things are open to interpretation, right? So I could be entirely wrong with this. It could just be an overactive imagination. But I had the impression that one of my grandmothers was in purgatory and she was angry. And I just thought, you know what? You can't be reconciled with God if you're still angry with him. So, regardless of whether she wants it or not, I'm going to pray for her. Because I want the aminosity between her and God to be reconciled. I want the pain to be healed. And again, I say it's selfish. I love my grandmother. I loved all of my grandparents, and I miss them. So it's selfless in the sense that I want them to be in heaven, but it's selfish in the sense of, yeah, because when they're in heaven, they'll be able to pray on my behalf. They'll be able to say, let Hobbit in, he's done good. And yeah, you can say, but Hobbit, nobody gets into heaven through their own merit. The only way you can get in there is because God so loved the world that he died for our sins. And that's why I understand the importance of the crucifix. It is a morbid symbol. I mean, it's really horrible. Like, if you ever seen Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, a lot of people say it's excessive. And reading about the horrors of crucifixion and flagellation, I would say he toned down the violence of what happened to Jesus in that terrible last moments. It's put it this way. I only this year have I been going to Mass regularly. And after Easter Mass, I was so upset by thinking about the suffering that our Lord underwent for our sins. And I was thinking to myself, this is such a gift that was given to us that how can I squander such a gift? And I went to confession afterwards, and the funny thing is, I went to confession. I was confessing a bunch of other stuff that was upsetting me, and the priest, he was pushing me. He says, "Is there anything else you want to confess about?" And I said, "Well, look, there is something, but I don't know if this is a sin exactly." And actually, I found out it is a sin. Unless you've got good reason to, you should go to church every Sunday. So it is a sin. And I guess because I go regularly enough to church now, he was saying, "Come on, do you want to say it?" And I said, "Well, look, there is a thing. Like, Easter Mass really upset me because the suffering that Jesus underwent for us, that was payment for our sins, right? I feel so wretched because I don't deserve it. And to be honest, I don't think any of us deserve it, but especially me, because, like I said, I did a lot of sinning, and I still do. I'm not proud about that, but I am, I'm aware of my sins. And I won't say what the priest said, but suffice to say, I got the penance, and I felt a lot better after that. Like, hey, what you experienced there, it's not the first time anybody in the world's experienced it. You're not alone. This is actually a fairly common thing, and yeah, I did my penance, and yeah, it was just, it's like, yeah, it's done. It's forgiven, and yeah, that meant a lot to me. So, where am I going with this? Oh yeah, point being, friend of ours who's very good on the book learning, me a lot. So I liked that, and again, it's something I'm really grateful for, because it's an area of investigation where I find it really interesting, and I really like it, and I find it entertaining. It's nice reading about monks and stuff like that, but I said it's all well and good to do the theory, but at some point you have to put it into practical. You have to experience it, not just with your head, but your heart. And the way you do that is you go to church, and you go to a mass or a liturgy, as the Greeks call it. It's a liturgy, or a Holy Communion. Yeah, you got to experience that, and it's very beneficial. It is good for the soul to do this, and no, I'm hesitating a lot when I'm talking, because I didn't realise it's actually quite I think it's quite a moving subject. Like, can I give you another example? Or am I being too personal now? I think a summary is just saying, like, I and a lot of people have a God-shaped hole in their heart. And, you can try and fill it in with various vices, and it works for a while. I think one of the best ones that work for that, which isn't God, is probably alcohol or sex. It's one of those vices. Really, really does fill it up for a time. But eventually, it leaves you empty, and it leaves you wanting more, and it causes more pain. I don't think I've heard of any happy story of alcoholism, sex addiction. I don't think I've heard of anybody that says, wow, I got addicted to sex and it was brilliant and I loved it. And eventually, people sort of after a while, they sort of realise, like, I don't want to hurt anymore. And when they're at that point, they eventually figure out that when they're ready, because unfortunately, me in my 20s, I didn't realise this because I was too arrogant and too prideful to do so. You get to a point in your life and you go, I don't want to hurt anymore. And the way to heal that hurt is with God. And once you do it, I mean, it's not instant. But eventually you can do that. I'll give you an example, right? Last year, feeling very miserable. I was coming to not just to grips with the fact that all my grandparents are dead and mortality, but that my own strength was waning, and I don't just mean physical strength. And it was very depressing in a lot of ways. And at the time, I was reading a book called The Bad Catholic's Guide to Wine, Whiskey and Song. And I got to the passage in it about Jubilee. And I was like, oh, I know Jubilee. That's the thing the Jews do every 7 years. Well, there's also Jubilee in the Catholic Church. And every 25 years, there's 4 churches, but the main one is St. Peter's Basilica. They open up the doors. And pilgrims can do a pilgrimage to St. Peter's Basilica. And when you walk under that door, you get a special, I think it's called a plenary indulgence. It's a special, like, forgiveness of sins and things like that. And I thought to myself, oh, I could do with that. I'm too embarrassed to talk to a priest about my sins. I'll go and do that. And I got to admit, Italy's nice. Vatican's very beautiful. And I was honoured to hold the cross of the pilgrim. I carried that into the basilica. It was wonderful praying the rosary with a group of Americans because I was surrounded by Polish pilgrims and I thought, well, this is going to be a very lonesome experience. So I went in there and I said, I want to pray for hope because I don't really have it at the moment. So I just, I want to use this pilgrimage for hope. And I came back home and I was exhausted. And I was so exhausted that I didn't even drive straight back from Gatwick. I stayed in a rubbish hotel on the way there, and I slept there overnight, recovering. Then I got home and I didn't think much of it. But then it came to Christmas, and I thought, you know what? I'll go to midnight mass. I'll go to Christmas mass, and I went there and I had a good old time. And I thought, oh yeah, this is what it's about. It's about being with other Christians and celebrating our Lord. And the hymns were so wonderful in that church. And I was speaking to some of the other parishioners. I said, you know what? Because they said, oh, you a visitor here. And I said, oh, well, I pop in now and then, which is true. I've probably in the 10 years living here, before this year, I probably popped into church about 6 times. So I said, I like it so much here, but do you know what's sad? We get these wonderful hymns, but we, down here in the pews, we only sing half the hymns. They said, oh, well, if you like singing, you should join the choir. I said, can I? And I said, yeah, go upstairs, talk to so-and-so, he's the choir master, and yeah, they'll have you. And I said, oh, good, because I said, I've sung in the choir before, and I'm a bit rusty, but I'd love to have a go at it. And then I spoke to the choir master, and he said, yeah, we get here half an hour before mass starts for practice, and just turn up. Now, for the first 4 weeks after Christmas, I didn't turn up. I was ill and I was depressed because it's that horrible time of year where it's just very unmotivating. But then I thought to them, no, I must go to church, and I did. And with the exception of the week after Easter Mass, I have been going to Sunday Mass every week. I really look forward to it, there were times when I'm like, I can't be bothered to get out of bed. I'm warm in bed and it's cold out there. And I don't know what changed, but something did change, and I look forward to it now. I really do. Yeah. Oh, no, I haven't been going to every Mass. I just realised that's not true. I do suffer from insomnia. And there has been like 1 or 2 times where I've just been like awake all night, haven't gone. And I know what's going on. I do know, and I've been to confession about it. And since doing that, I've been sleeping a lot better. And it's been nice. And the main thing is, it's just, I'm not hurting like I used to. And that is a gift worth more than anything else, really. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So, yeah. I think I've said my piece now. And, yeah, I've said my piece. I could have been more succinct. I could have asked the Holy Spirit to, look, help me choose my words here. But it's hard to talk about these sort of things because they're very personal, and usually I make channels just for sort of being irreverent, being entertaining. But hey, this works for me, and I know I don't get many viewers, but if this is listening to you, and if what I'm saying, if you're hearing it and it resonates with you, then I would recommend you pop into your local church and have a sit down. And just be quiet. Just let God talk to you.